Listen up, I gotta tell you, there is something you should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better. Don't even
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free. Hey y'all, happy Saturday. I'm so glad to see y'all here with me. Thank you for praying with the kids. There are a lot missing from the same day. That's the day that I made the video. And it's always weird to me how it's like black and white pictures and there's not a lot of clear pictures of them. I've always found that weird. Thank y'all for being here. Belinda, Sandra, it's good to see you. Hannah, UK, thank you for being here. Kimmy, Just Breathe, Southern Cats, Queen Olive Ruthann, Taching, Crime Time Watcher, good to see you. Kelly, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Snarky Pants, Tanya and Do, good to see you. Thank y'all for being here. Miss King of Anything and Jada is here. Thank you for being here for the Penn State game. Oh, really? How interesting. Hey, Thomas, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Leslie, Cindy from sunny South Florida, good to see you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. Mark is supposed to pop in to tell us about the hearing with Jake and Rebecca Haros, so that should be interesting. Okay, I had a few things I wanted to tell y'all about before we get started. Two things that I found in my news feed that were pretty interesting. Actually, a couple of things. So we have the cause of death for the infant found in the closet of the Kentucky cheerleader. We had touched on this briefly, probably about 2 lives ago. So I wanted to go over this with you guys real quick. Now, remember, she was like a beauty queen. She was head cheerleader at the University of Kentucky, or she was like, very prominent there, and they found a child in the closet. Evidently, she had posted pictures of a baby bump or something to that effect. Here's a quick video that's going to give us the autopsy results. Okay, it's going to play music. It says autopsy results have been released for the infant found deceased in the closet of a University of Kentucky competitive cheerleader named Laken Snelling. The baby's cause of death has been ruled inconclusive and, quote, extensive microscopic analysis are essential to determine the cause and manner of death, according to a report from the Fayette County Coroner's Office obtained by U.S. Weekly on Thursday, September 4th. Of course, it's going to show an ad. Hey, Indy and Donna, good to see you. And you can clearly see her belly. Really interesting. I did have a video on it we can watch. I understand the community's concern and sensitivity surrounding the death of a child. We are conducting a thorough and methodical investigation to ensure all facts are carefully considered, Fayette County Coroner Gray Jen said in the report. Snelling was arrested on Saturday, August 30th, and charged with abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. A senior on the University of Kentucky stunt cheerleading team, Snelling pleaded not guilty to all charges during an appearance in a Lexington, Kentucky courtroom on Tuesday, September 2nd. The cheerleader was released on a $100,000 bond and is now living on home incarceration with no ankle monitor with her parents in Jefferson City, Kentucky. Or Jefferson City, Tennessee, I'm sorry. Snelling's preliminary hearing is scheduled for September 26th. Actually, before we go into any of the other... Hey, Mark. Good to see you. Hey, Kat. Good to see you. I don't want to keep you too long, Mark, but while we're talking about this, I'll grab the video I had on it, and then we'll go into the Haros so I can talk to Mark.
Hold on just a minute. Hold on just a minute. No, I don't want that one. Where is it? Right here. Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up. Hey, Stephanie. Okay, I don't plan on playing the whole video, but we can watch some of it. Like when they have the person come up and talk, I don't really plan on playing that. But this is the update in the beauty queen cheerleader baby trash bag death.
We have a big update in the case of a college cheerleader accused of hiding dead baby's body in a trash bag in a closet. We have the autopsy and video of her in court per WBIR TV. Laken Snelling is now out on bond. She's living with her mom and dad on house arrest. What this autopsy tells us about what happened inside of her home and what it could mean for the charges that this former beauty queen is now facing. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris.
So, as you saw, there was some videos of her there. She sure did make that yellow dress work because I couldn't.
It is so difficult to comprehend. And it's also so important to remember that there's so much that we still don't know about what happened and about the 21-year-old girl who is at the center of this case.
Kat said, I don't understand these young women. They can get help. Just ask for help. Someone will help you. I will help you, right? Like, there's so much help out there. There's so many other opportunities other than what they're doing. Yeah, I couldn't with that dress. I damn sure wouldn't even try to make it work.
This is video of that 21-year-old college student. Her name is Laken Snelling. This is video of her in court earlier this week per WBIR TV. She appeared in a red dress. She pleaded not guilty to charges of abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant. Snelling posted a $100,000 bond, and she's now on house arrest, living with her mom and her dad. She does not have to wear an ankle monitor. Now, before I get to what this autopsy found, let me break down how all of this started, because we have to go back to last week, August 27th in Lexington.
There, I can see something. It looks like she could possibly be very pregnant, but it's the way the dress is made that it's hard to tell. She's definitely wearing a push-up bra, but her hand, there's definitely some kind of bump there. It looks like
Kentucky, and that's when police were called to the house of Laken Snelling for a report of an unresponsive infant. The child was pronounced dead on scene, according to police. WLEX TV says that police say the baby was found dead inside a closet. Then there's an arrest citation that says the infant was wrapped in a towel inside of a black trash bag. The citation goes on to say that Snelling reportedly was read her rights, and she allegedly admitted that she gave birth to that baby, and we have since learned it was a baby boy. She then says that she concealed the birth by cleaning evidence and putting all cleaning items inside of that black trash bag, along with the body of her newborn son, who was wrapped in a towel, according to police. Now, it's still...
I don't understand how you could do that. Like, how can you look at your newborn child and just throw it away? I'll never understand.
Unclear how old that baby was, or just how far along Snelling was in her pregnancy when she gave birth. What we do know about Snelling is that she's a student at the University of Kentucky in Lexington. In fact, she was a member of the school's stunt cheerleading team, and that's a big deal. The University of Kentucky, we're talking about a large D1 school. They're a member of the SEC. Snelling is also a former beauty queen. She often posts on social media about pageants. I also want to show you this picture here because
I can't. This dress right here, I don't know, man. It's not. I don't even know what to say. But no.
Media about pageants. I also want to show you this picture here because this is Snelling on the Kentucky Wildcats official website. Now, what didn't appear on Snelling's social media was, from what we could see, any talk about being pregnant. It appears that she stopped posting pictures of herself in April of this year. Now, that's obviously not a crime, but that could raise questions about her allegedly hiding her pregnancy and keeping it out of sight. Now, another shocking part of all of this is that it appears that she presented herself as someone who had aspirations to one day be a mom. This is the last post that she had on TikTok. It's from June, and it's a picture of her with emojis that describe her. And in the bottom left, we notice there is one that says goals, and it shows an emoji of a mom with a child. Now, it's unclear what has been going on in Snelling's life and the circumstances surrounding what allegedly happened inside her home last week off campus in Lexington. Now, we did.
Okay, Karen, it's nice to meet you, and I'm glad you are here. Karen said MMO tarot card reading said she hung the baby upside down by his feet to commit the homicide of him. So I'm sorry. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. The baby probably would have died by not having the amniotic fluid cleared out of its lungs and seeking medical attention. If she did commit the homicide of the baby, she probably suffocated the baby, if I had to guess. I wouldn't, to be honest with you, I used to really be into tarot card reading. Okay. And I don't know. I would have never asked something like that. I would just ask about my future. And to be honest with you, let's talk about that for a minute. Tarot card reading, you could ask it about your future. Should I make this decision in my work life? Should I make a decision to ask for a raise? Okay. And then you play the cards and you get what it's dealt. And it says, you know, you should ask for the raise, but there is consequences involved and you may not get it. You could subconsciously make it come true by doing things in your life to make whatever the cards say come true and not even realize you're doing it. So there's always like a backdoor to all of this, but I definitely would not believe a tarot card reader about the death of a child or a baby. I know people do it. It's just, I don't think that that's very nice, I guess.
Find these pictures of her with a man. It's unclear if he's the baby's father or what he knew about what allegedly happened to Snelling's baby boy and what happened inside that home. At the time of this recording, though, no one else has been charged in this case, just Snelling. But police have said the investigation is continuing. Now, we did get this autopsy that came back of that infant that Snelling allegedly said that she gave birth to inside her home. The Fayette County coroner ruled the cause of death inconclusive for that infant boy. Now, this was the preliminary autopsy results that came back. So more tests are going to be done to figure out how this baby died. It's also unclear officially at this point how police found out that the baby was born inside of Snelling's home and how they came about this case. Now, at the time of this recording, this is not a murder case. It's important to be very clear about that since we don't know the cause of death of this baby boy. Abuse of a court.
So I think that they became aware of it because somebody knew. I think she told somebody and they knew. And somebody told on her. Kimmy said, I can't imagine how she did stunts while pregnant, being flipped upside down and whatnot. But I had horrible morning sickness. So that just sounds awful. Yeah, I think it's worse with boys too. Like, it was real bad for me with my boys. Bethina said, it's just so horrifying that someone could even think of doing this. Why is she not practicing safe relations? Good question. Hey, Bethina, native girl, everybody coming in. It's good to see you. Who covers cases. She is a true crime reader who covers cases. And I know a lot of people do that. I just, I don't agree with it, but I don't, if that's what she does, then more power to her.
Corpse and tampering with physical evidence under Kentucky law are both Class D felonies, and they typically result with a prison sentence between 1 and 5 years. Snelling, again, living at home with mom and dad, no ankle monitor, out on $100,000 bond. She is due back in court in Kentucky on September 26th for a preliminary hearing. In putting this story together, we typed Laken Snelling's name into truthfinder.com. And
all right, so that gives us kind of an idea of what happened there. I do have this that somebody just sent me. Hold on. Let me pause it and pull it up, and then we'll move on because I don't want to hold Mark up. What the? Oh, it's like, what is that? Okay, so this is a video that is supposed to evidently show that she is very much pregnant. Oh, yeah. Watch. Right there. Hold on. If that is her, and I mean, I think it is. You can definitely see a baby bump, and you got to remember, she's probably got like garters on and things that like suck in your stomach, kinda. So she was probably very pregnant. Cindy said babies will most often clear the airway on their own. If the cord was still attached to the placenta, the baby would do fine. Look up Lotus birth. I would think if that's the case, then she might have suffocated it. Hanging a baby upside down, like, I don't know, that sounds horrific. I don't know. Like, even if I got that on a tarot card reading, I don't know if I would share it. If it turns out to be true, I will definitely be appalled and surprised. Daydreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches, said someone on another thread said her roommate found the baby and called the police. Not sure if it's true. That would make sense. I gave birth to my son at home, just me and my fiance, before the paramedics got there, and it wasn't scary in the moment, but after the fact, it was terrifying. Wow, Shelby, that's crazy. And I'm glad that everything went okay. Thank you for the video, Just Breathe. Yeah, I almost died too. I was in labor too long, and I had to get a C-section. Girl. Let me play the whole video here. I mean, I'm not trying to, I know competitive cheerleading is a thing. I actually watched lots of videos on it, but that was about the only like real surprising part of it is when she's up high and then she grabs this girl. Like, I'm not seeing anything else real competitive. If this is an advertisement for your competitive cheerleading, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but like, I need to see some more. A lot of cheerleading groups can do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being mean. I definitely couldn't get up there and do it. So more power to them for that. But I've seen them where they do all kinds of stuff. You can definitely tell she's pregnant there, though. Like, why didn't the coach or anybody say anything? Did she just keep denying it? I wonder. All right. So now I'm going to drop the link and we're going to talk about Emmanuel Haro. I want to tell you guys, I want to go back to YouTube actually first. Mark was at the hearing where they both pled not guilty, from my understanding. And I was going to interview him and ask him kind of about what he saw. And I have another interview with, yeah, she was totally pregnant. And I have another interview with the guy that interviewed Jake Haro behind bars and what he has to say about it. Maybe. Cindy said if I had to guess, one of two things happened. First, smothered the baby so no one would hear it cry, and two, the baby was stillborn. I don't think it's glitchy. I could be wrong, though. Okay, so here, this person is the one that interviewed them behind bars. Hey, Christina. I'm glad you're here. My sound was glitching, but I exited out and came back, and now it's good. Okay, yeah, try to exit out, Indy, and then come back. There are more pictures at different angles, and there is no way no one noticed. I wonder what she said to keep everybody at bay. All right, so he's going to talk to the person who interviewed Jake Haro behind bars when he said that Rebecca's innocent, and said if he could say anything to Emmanuel, he would say, "I love you, buddy." So we're going to watch that. Hannah said in her defense, she's in a state that abortion is legal. Maybe she planned to have the baby and put it up for adoption, and when he came early and was not breathing, she panicked. That's a possibility. It's a possibility. We might go back into that. We'll see.
Emmanuel Haro are back in front of cameras today. They were arraigned on charges. They killed their 7-month-old son, Emmanuel, after prolonged abuse. I say back in front of the cameras because this was the first time the Haros were in front of the media per KABC.
Got him out of the car seat and I laid him down and so I could get his diapers ready. And somebody said, hold on, that's all I remember.
Whoever took our son, please give him back.
What they said today in court about being accused of their son's murder with his body still missing. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime.
So while they talk about what they said in court, what did you see? Marcus here. What did you notice about when you went to court? Did you notice anything out of the ordinary? Tell me about what happened step by step.
Jessica, how you doing? Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Good. How are you?
Good. What was your question?
Okay, so what did you notice, like, when you went in the courtroom? Like, what happened? Explain to me what happened and things that caught your eye.
Okay, so waiting in line for a while. Got in there. They gave us numbers, and so it was a little bit more organized this time around. Media got in first. Yeah, they got priority. They got in first, and then the public went in first. So there was a lot more seating than it was last time. Last time, remember when I called in, there was a stampede and people were being rude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this time around, I just went in there and made sure that it wasn't being cut. So we go in there, and they're already seated. And what caught my eye, first impression, went in there, fresh mind. No expectations, was how tiny the room was, how intimate it felt. Yes. If you ever seen Little House on the Prairie where they have those like the school or like the court trials, that's how it felt.
Oh, wow.
It felt like a little town came together because these two people were being tried for murder. So that's one thing that really caught my eye was just how tiny it felt.
Wow.
And it's
That's
completely
crazy.
different. Yeah. It's completely different when you're there than you're seeing it on TV. Like we're seeing it right now. It's cutting from her face to Jake's face. When you're in there, it's completely different. It's not even close to what you see on your screen. Not even close. It's
Oh, wow.
you can feel the tension in the room. You can feel the professionalism. You feel the bailiffs on standby, ready for whatever may happen. You can feel Jake, in my opinion, just he's a shell of a person, no emotion, just there with like a demon inside of him. And that's how I explained it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've said this before. When I saw him, I've never been scared of anybody in my life. Never, never of a person. Never been scared of nobody. When I saw him, I was scared.
Really?
Scared.
What made you, was it his stature or knowing what he's accused of? Like,
His energy, his stoicism, his no emotion, his like just his energy, his what do they call it, like your aurora, or however I can't
aura,
say it.
yeah.
Your
AURA,
aura.
aura. Yeah.
Your aura. His aura was like void, if that
Wow.
makes any sense. If that makes any sense, and that's just my perspective, my opinion,
Yeah.
and that's just how I felt with that guy. And he's scary. He's scary, and I've never felt like that with anybody ever until I went in that courtroom.
Oh my gosh.
hmm
That is
hmm
crazy. I dropped Mark's link in the chat and I
hmm
pinned it up top. Make sure you guys subscribe. I put in the description box that he's from the area, so he has up-to-date information and things. So, okay, you go in there and you're put off very much by Jake. What did you notice about Rebecca
hmm
or feel about her?
So yeah, so that was about Jake, I go in there, I was the first person in line. So I go in there and I got a really good seat. I was able to see Jake, I was able to see Rebecca, both of them.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so I could glance at Jake, I could glance at Rebecca. I couldn't see them
Right.
both at the same time, but when I saw Rebecca, she looked defeated.
Mm-hmm.
Her lawyer was blocking her from the public, from the cameras, but
Yeah.
I think he was blocking her from seeing Jake. I think that's what it was too. And so I see her, and again, it's completely different than what you see on TV. She looks defeated.
Right.
She looks worn down. She looks depressed. She looks um, just um, the way I explained it was that it looked like God took her soul away and isn't giving it back. That's how I felt
Oh,
about, yeah, like he took her soul.
wow.
That's how she looked to me. And it's just the level of detail when you're there and seeing a person like that, like defeated. I thought she was gonna confess right there, right on the spot. That's how she looked.
Oh, wow.
Hmm. Like she was ready to tell everybody, the public, us, this is what happened. That's the vibe I got.
And I think that the lawyer trying to block, I think it makes more sense that he's blocking Jake because with
Hmm.
like if she sees him, he's gonna have that control right back over her because she's smitten in love with him and he's controlled every aspect of her. Wow.
Hmm. Yeah, these narcissists, they're very manipulative. That's what they do. That's what they live for.
Yeah.
And, I'm not trying to excuse anything. I always try to see different avenues, and I want to be able to talk about stuff like that, domestic violence and things of that nature. It's okay to talk about things and have our opinions and speculations, because you never know, you might learn something, and in the end, whether, they're both guilty of the murder and both, then so be it. But I think we're allowed to have our opinions and speculations until we get there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I do too, as long as, we state it as such. I
Right,
wonder if
right.
sh I wonder if she started to crack or told her attorney anything because we haven't heard anything since the jailhouse interview where she claimed that everything was as she had stated before, which we know is not true. Then he says I love you and is thrown to the ground and we haven't heard anything since.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's the camera wasn't able to the footage that you see in on the camera, I think that's old footage because the guy that was taking video was like pissed off that the lawyer was blocking his view from recording her because she looks different. She looks different than what
Really?
the video. Yeah, she looks different. So even the guy was like pissed off because he couldn't get a shot. So I'm thinking people like the media's. I'm thinking that people are seeing old footage because they couldn't get new footage. Um, in my opinion, because she looked
Ye
different. Yeah.
How did she look different? I mean, just that she was defeated or like was her black eyes gone? Did she just look a lot sadder or
Yeah, she looked a lot sadder, and she had two. I only got to see the left side of her face, and I did see like a mark that looked like a bruising, but I mean that could be anything, so I don't know, but it did look like a bruise, like she had it on the left side.
interesting. Did she
But
try
she,
to look at Did she
go
try
ahead.
to look at him or sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did she try to look at him or communicate with him or she just stared forward?
When I was in there, they're already seated.
Mhm.
The public goes in later, and
Yeah.
then they're ready to go. Once the public goes in, they're ready to go. So Jake was
Uh,
already seated. The bailiffs were there. The judge was ready. Rebecca was seated. So when I go in there, it took, they were saying it took like 3 minutes or something like that. I mean, it felt like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So when
yeah.
he got up to leave, I mean, he was, saying, yes, judge, yes, your honor, this and that, like uh, just the normal things that you say to a judge. And so
Right.
when that got done, they're going through the dates and everything. He gets up and he leaves, he doesn't look at her. So I'm trying to look at her. I'm trying to look at him. I'm trying to look at the judge. I'm trying to listen to the judge. I'm trying to write notes. So I wanted to at least see one of them and their reaction.
Mhm.
So I just focused on Rebecca. And he walks out of the room to his left, and she looks at him uh, as he's walking away. And the look of her was like, "How dare you?
Oh,
How dare you? I can't believe you." It wasn't a look of endearment or "I miss you" or "I love you," in my
see,
opinion.
yeah,
Yeah, it was that.
that's what I was thinking it would have been. It was like she's angry.
Hmm.
Wow.
So she looked at him like that. So I made sure to look at least one of them. And, it's 50-50 what's going to happen if he's going to do something or she's going to do something. So I was lucky that I just got to see her. And she just looked at him. And that look was just, yeah, like, wow, like, I can't believe you. I can't believe you, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That
And,
makes me think that he
mhm.
committed the homicide. Mama Mia said, "Do you think she was just an abused woman and innocent somehow?"
We've talked about that. And in my opinion, there's something there of that because from what we heard before with his ex-wife, Vanessa, he would
Uh-huh.
tell her that nobody loves you. He would
Yeah.
isolate her. And that's a narcissist playbook, right? They isolate
Right.
you so you're financially, physically, emotionally depending on them. So with this, I mean, I think there is some level of that. I do believe that. What her role is yet to be found, yet to be seen. So I don't know. I don't know what her role is. We don't have the evidence yet. So that's something I'm looking forward to see because there's a lot of questions with her. What was your
Yeah.
role?
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Your perspective is amazing. Like, if you guys haven't subscribed to Mark, please do that because you're really good at this.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. I'm so nervous right now. Thank you so
oh no,
much.
don't be nervous. You're amazing. You're doing a great job. You're amazing.
I appreciate
Okay.
you.
So, they said that basically okay, so do you remember, like, what did you take notes on? What do your notes say?
Pretty much my notes. I try to get the lawyers, which they got new lawyers from the Turpin case. If
Right.
you guys remember that. So that was big because I was a little confused about that. Last time it was one lawyer, but it was just for that day, representing both. So that was that. So my notes were that he was in red jumpsuit. I took note of that because he's in protective custody from other inmates. He's like in danger of other inmates. So that was the red. Um, and that just kind of gave him that physique of the devil. Just
Right.
him being in all red. So I saw that. I took notes on that. And with Rebecca, she was in blue. I took notes on that. And that's the same thing. She's in protective custody as well from other inmates.
I
They're
didn't know
not,
that.
yeah. Yeah, they're at high risk for other inmates to hurt them because
Oh,
of this high profile case. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. Um, Real quick, I wanted to say thank you to Christina for becoming a member, and I'm gonna grab the crazy train to pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much, Christina. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, Mark is you're amazing. You're like really good to this. Y'all make sure to sub up to Mark because yeah, you're like I couldn't even do this good at an interview. I would be really nervous too. Um, so you highlighted like him wearing red, it just made him look
Hmm.
evil. It brought out his aura. I could just picture it with the way you're
Hmm.
doing it. And it's like giving me goosebumps. Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
the red, yeah, that stood out. And so I made sure to write that down.
wow. So the judge read out the charges and they pled not guilty. And
Hmm. Both pled
uh,
not guilty. Yep.
did they say it or did their lawyer say not guilty?
Their lawyers did.
Okay.
I believe. Either one of them said not guilty, or both their lawyers said, or it was like a mix, either or. But that's what it was in the end, was just pleaded not guilty.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's a different feeling, and I think I want to stress that, I want to stress that, is that when you're in there in person, it's a different world, it's a different vibe, it's a different environment being in there, and it's
Yeah.
not, no, it's nothing like TV or my phone.
Right, because you were describing how small the courthouse is, and it was kind of like, one of the schoolrooms or the courtroom on
Hmm.
Little House on the Prairie, and then you're in there and you're that close to someone is alleged to have committed these horrific crimes, and for a fact that he did with Carolina
Hmm.
Rose, later renamed Promise.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's just and it's, I mean, you picture him as being an evil narcissistic person, and then hearing you describe it, like his aura, his whole mannerisms and everything were just void and dark and sulking, and it's wow.
Hmm. And so
But yeah,
yeah, that was intense, that was interesting.
yeah. So you said the media got mad. Did they say something, or you could tell that they were mad they couldn't get a shot of Rebecca? Yeah, Mark's link is pinned at the top, y'all.
Where I was seated,
Hmm.
I was like at the back of the courtroom, and in front was the camera. You only have one camera and one picture, and the media, they decide on who gets to do it.
Uh-huh.
You have to get approved by the judge, or have it signed off. So the cameraman, he's ready to go. He's setting it up, and he's got the big camera on Rebecca, but the lawyer, I mean, he's huge. He's tall, and he's like built like a tank. So he's covering Rebecca, and the cameraman is just like throwing his hands up, like, what the heck, man? Like, you're blocking my shot.
Wow.
Hmm. So he
So
just kind of just, didn't get his shot, I guess, or waited or something, but he got upset.
wow. And you were saying he's tall. Are you talking about Jake or the cameraman?
The lawyer, Mr. Moore, for
Oh, okay.
Rebecca, he's a
Uh-huh.
built like a tank. He's huge. He's big. He's like stoic. He's a big man, and so
Yeah.
he's blocking Rebecca. But I was lucky enough to see her and to see Jake at the same, not at the same time, but I could glance at them both. And Jake was like within a couple arms reach away from me. I mean, that's how close he was to me, like super close. Like
Wow.
I could
Reach out
just
and touch
like,
him.
yeah, I could if I wanted to. Yeah, I could do that. I mean, I'm not going to, obviously, but just to put it in perspective.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was wild. But I got to get going, and I appreciate you having me, but that was pretty much
Yeah.
it. The new dates were for, I have to look at my notes, but there's two new dates, and I'll be hopefully going there. I'm thinking of just staying up there or something, so I can get both, because on those dates they're going to come out with the evidence. They're going to present the evidence to the judge, and the judge is going to say, okay, let's move forward. What that evidence is it's nobody's ever seen it.
Right.
So, and so when I go in there, and I'm you know I soak everything up. I like to go live right after, because it's
Yeah.
fresh in my mind. I don't talk to anybody. I walk out, I do the live, and it's fresh in my mind. So after that, the new evidence comes out, I'm going to go live right away, just because it's fresh. Not because I want to be the first, but just it's just fresh in my head.
Yeah. That's the best
Hmm.
time.
Right.
Um,
So,
yeah, so make sure that you guys are subscribed. I dropped his link, and I'm gonna drop it again. Yeah, there it is again. So make sure you guys subscribe, and so you can see when he goes live about all of the evidence. You're talking about the preliminary hearing and things.
Yeah, the preliminary hearing. I've had it in my notes. Oh, here we go. September
Okay.
16th is going to be the felony settlement conference, which that means they're said that they're gonna they're gonna go into chambers with the judge. Everybody's gonna go in there, all the key players, the defense, the prosecution, the DA, everybody. And
Uh-huh.
they're gonna talk about the case, and they're gonna try to reach an agreement, um, quote unquote, possible plea deal, but the DA already said they're not interested in it. But that's just the process, right? So that's what they're going to do. They're going to do a little housekeeping, this and that. And then on the 17th, that's going to be the first preliminary hearing. That's when they're going to present the evidence to the judge to decide whether or not the judge is going to move forward with the case.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just saw that with Austin, and we got a lot of information that we didn't have. And with the Emmanuel Haro case, they're not letting any information out. So that preliminary hearing is going to be the key to everything.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be the key to everything, is that it's
Yep.
what they have, we don't know. I mean, they could have a mountain of evidence. They can have something is yet to be seen, but September 17th, that's going to be the date where they present that evidence.
Well, I'm excited to see what they say and what you have to say about it after court. I'm very interested in that, and you are really good at this. And if I could, everybody has said thank you for telling us, and thank you for being here. And you're amazing at this. So I've dropped his link, and it's pinned at the top. And I hope you continue to do this, like even after this case, because you're really good. I think you would do really good making your channel and continuing to do this. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I mean, for your support and everything. So I'm always shouting you out, and I
Oh,
mean,
thank you.
yeah, you're like the great. I shouted you out on my first live. I made sure like the first words out of my mouth was thank you to
Oh,
you and
thank you.
your channel and your subscribers. I mean, you guys are the best.
Yeah, thank you. You're doing really good too. Yeah, and I'll definitely, anytime you want to talk or anytime you get information,
Hmm.
I'll have you over and I'll replay and I'll drop your links too to try to help you get out there, because you're doing, like I said, you're doing a great job. The way you described being in that courtroom and gave us key details about how it felt, what they seemed like. I mean, it's just, you're very descriptive, and you're doing great. You're doing
Mm.
great.
Thank you so much. Justice for baby Emanuelito. Uh,
Yes.
let's hope the justice system does its
Works
does
this
its
time.
works. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Lord have mercy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye everybody. Take care.
Bye, Mark. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye. Wow, that was amazing. Mark did an amazing job. Like he's really good at this. So I'm gonna drop his link one more time, because that was like, y'all. I'm not that big either, but and I haven't interviewed a lot of people, but that was like the best interview that I've ever heard. The way, and it was all Mark, the way he described them, and then the aura and what it felt like to be in that courtroom, even though it was only like three, or they said I think 5 or 7 minutes. Mark said it felt like 10 to 15. The way he described it, I mean, I felt like I was there and could feel the aura of Jake and Rebecca and the descriptive details. It's just really amazing. So please, again, subscribe to Mark, because he's going to do big things. If he continues to do that, he's going to do big things. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you guys for being here. And thank you again, Mark, if you hear this. I went over here. Let me show you guys. This is his channel. Just because I wanted to make sure that y'all find the right one. I clicked it from my link. Mark the Shark. See, and all day, it's funny because there's a song that goes, it's some kind of tune, it's some kind of Facebook thing. I don't know. It goes shark, 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 bee. And I've had that song stuck in my head every day, all day. And I think it's because I was on Mark's page earlier. But he has 271 subscribers and 37 videos. And here you can see He did an on-site search at the 60 freeway where Jake Haro took law enforcement and searchers to look for the baby. The memorial for Emmanuel, I'll click on that one. You can see where he walked up. Let me see. He don't have any music. He's awesome. So yeah, like Cindy said, Mark is very humble and respectful to the subject and the content. Absolutely. He is. He's doing a great job. Nice, calm voice and explanations from Mark. I agree. Lori said, say a little prayer. We're having a tornado warning in Hampton County, Massachusetts. Oh my goodness, Lori, I hope that God puts his hands over all of you guys and protects you guys. I'm sorry that you're going through that. And I pray that you guys will be okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, make sure you're safe and make sure you're somewhere you can get away if you need to. Kate said Mark does this from the heart. He absolutely does. And you can tell by the way he said justice for Emmanuel and, you know, showing the memorial for Emmanuel and all that. Just an amazing person. I'm glad that we are able to know him. Like, that was amazing. Miss Scorpio, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That was so very sweet of you. I really hope that we can get Mark over 1,000 subscribers and get him monetized, which he'll do that by himself if he continues to go to these court cases and do what he's doing. I think that he'll be monetized in no time. Miss Scorpio, again, thank you for the super chat. Miss Scorpio says, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil with the monkeys. I love it. My dad used to have a statue that had monkeys doing that, and I love that little statue that he had. I think I still have it. Thank you again for that. That was very sweet of you. Brown Eyed said he has more subs now. He does a great job, and it won't take him long to go places. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, the memorial, it's amazing. A lot of people have come out to show support. And Mark showed a video or a post where he put a shark there for him. Stay safe, Lori. Yeah, he's a natural. Absolutely. Huge memorial. They've even got the tent things here, like to keep stuff dry. It's amazing how much these people have come out. He did. You know, I was thinking about the stepfather owning the property, and I'm glad that even though he owns the property, like the stuff's being left there, because I remember in the Madeline Soto case, they removed all of the stuffed animals and things like that. I'm glad that this stuff is being left there and nobody's going in the property anymore that I can see anyway. Before we go,
a police officer from the New Berlin Police Department.
I think it's on his post. Emmanuel's Law QR code, almost 3,000 online signatures. On-site memorial, met the lady who was helping with it, and she is amazing. Yeah, there's a lady that is making Emmanuel's Law, and here you can see it. And a lot of you have talked about it in chat, and I did want to share this with you. So Emmanuel's Law is a movement to protect kids from being returned to convicted abusers. It stops repeat offenders from gaining custody, protects foster children from unsafe reunifications, and demands stronger CPS accountability. You can sign the law at emmanuelslaw.com. Let me write that down, or I'll try to grab that link before we go. There's the QR code for Emmanuel's Law, and it says no more children to be returned to convicted abusers. There is a lady that I saw a video of her out there doing that. Yeah, there's the shark. So here, 9 days ago, Mark said, I left a baby shark for Emmanuel Haro from all of us in the true crime community. And there you can see the little baby shark that he left, which I thought was just the sweetest thing I've seen. I think that was just so sweet of him. Bethina said, I have a question about Snelling. Do you think her pregnancy and delivery made her have a psychotic break? I knew someone once who had one after delivery, but she wasn't altogether to begin with. I've actually heard of people having like a psychotic break because there's a lot of emotions that come with labor and delivery. And so I've heard of it happening, like a temporary psychotic break right after having a baby or delivering a child. It's a possibility, but the fact that she hid her pregnancy the whole time, stopped taking pictures in April, I think that she was not all on board with having the child to begin with. Cindy said, I hung out with Mark on a live stream last night while he hiked in the dark talking true crime. How interesting. I'm going to pull up the petition real quick. So let me go to... I'm going to grab the link and try to share it in chat. Emmanuel'sLaw.com. Let's see. Justice for Emmanuel. Yeah, this is it. Protection for all children. Okay. So this is the link if you guys want to sign the petition. I wonder if you can sign it anonymously. So it says, take action, sign the petition today and make a difference. Protecting children's rights with diligence. Justice for Emmanuel, protection for all children. Quote, protecting the most vulnerable, how Emmanuel's Law is closing loopholes to prevent convicted child abusers from regaining custody and care. So it says about Emmanuel's Law. Emmanuel's Law is a proposed child protection reform inspired by the tragic death of baby Emmanuel Haro. Despite prior convictions for abuse, his parents were still allowed access to children, leading to devastating consequences. Emmanuel's story highlights systemic failures that place children in danger. Emmanuel's Law seeks to correct these failures by demanding permanent removal of parental rights for convicted abusers, stronger oversight, and nationwide consistency in child welfare policies. Join us in demanding change by signing the petition. And if you click that, there is 3,356 verified signatures. So there is where you can click here where it doesn't display your name and comment on the petition. So I'll sign that real quick where it won't show my name because I don't want to give my full legal name. I got an email saying there were up to 3,000 signatures. Everyone be sure to sign. Yeah, make sure you sign. I'm actually gonna come stop sharing real quick and I will sign it. I'm going to use a different email. I don't want anybody to get my legal name. So that so nobody has my legal name. Let me see. Okay. So after you sign, I'm going to pull it back up because it's not showing my name. Well, you know, my name is Jessica. It wasn't saying that just a second ago, but it says real change often takes time. Help this position reach fellow advocates working to build a better world. Can you chip in $3 to get this petition on the agenda? You can do that. I'm going to click no, I'll share instead, but I'm going to go back and do it at some point. And it should share this petition with at least one other person. You can click skip for now. And then it says amplify your signature by adding your voice. You can skip that as well. And let's see. Okay, so it takes you to another petition to sign. Hold on a minute. Okay, so I just wanted to walk you guys through it so that you guys would know. Change.org and through our emails. Thank you for your support. It will be shown to many people who wouldn't have seen it otherwise. So the petition was created. It grew to 3,356 signatures, but still needs more support. So far, 4,767 people have shared or paid to advertise the petition. Your ad will keep the momentum going and get critical support. It may attract media coverage and lead to negotiations, and victory could be declared. All right. So now we will go back to the video that we were watching. Again, I do appreciate Mark, and y'all, it's just so heartwarming to see that little shark there that he put there. I mean, he's really doing things in this case, and I think it's so sweet. Again, thank you, Mark, and y'all make sure you subscribe to him because he's doing good things. All right. So now we're going, okay, Indy Girl, have a good day. Thank you guys for signing and sharing. Kimmy says, Connecticut is under a severe storm warning. The tornado warning in Massachusetts appears to be near Springfield. Y'all be careful out there, and I will keep you in my prayers and hope that it passes by you guys and nothing, no devastation happens. While I'm playing this, I'm going to pull up the Turpin's lawyers so we can learn more about Jake and Rebecca Haro's lawyers.
I'm Chris Stewart.
I wanted to mute this.
Have said publicly they have a good idea of where Emmanuel Haro's body is, but at this point we don't know where that location is, and his parents seem to be denying that they killed their son. Jake and Rebecca Haro were back in court today. Prosecutors believe they know exactly what happened to their young boy. This is video of the Haros in court today for their arraignment. They sat reportedly on different sides of the courtroom, didn't really look at each other, but they were arraigned together in the same hearing with separate attorneys. Their court appearance, though, it was brief. Again, they didn't even really look at each other. They didn't really say much, but they entered their pleas to these charges, and they both have pleaded not guilty. The Haros.
So remember, Mark said that he thinks that, why did it do that? Hold on a minute. If I go away, I'll be right back. Okay, I don't know. It like made another page that was up. Remember that Mark said that he thinks that the media is using different video footage because they weren't able to see Rebecca. So while that might be actual footage of Jake from the sentencing, I think that what he was saying was that this footage of Rebecca right here could be from the hearing originally and not from this one. Although her eye, I don't know if it's because she's facing forward or not, but that bruise does seem to have cleared up some. And it looks like her eyelashes are kind of stuck together, maybe as if she had been crying or something, but her cheek isn't wet. Looking like she's been crying. I did look up the Turpin's lawyers. I'm going to grab what Chambers ranked in UK 24. I don't know, but I'm going to try to find out what who their lawyers were. But like, if we're talking about lawyers, I kind of wanted to know what their sentence was, okay? Because like, are we talking about somebody that like represented OJ or Casey Anthony, that like they were clearly guilty of these crimes and they got off with like no jail time at all? And upon doing that, it does say that the Turpins in April were sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 25 years, when they'll both probably be deceased, if I had to guess. So that, while we would like for it to be life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, again, more than likely they'll be more than likely they'll be deceased after 25 years. And after 25 years, that's only a possibility that they might be paroled if a parole board thinks that they should be paroled. So looking at the sentence and comparing it to the case, while I wish it was harsher, it's not like their lawyers got them off like OJ. So I get that Jake and Rebecca Haro do have the same attorneys, but hopefully it will be kind of like the same charge. Hopefully we're not looking at like a OJ Simpson or Casey Anthony type thing. Hopefully they will be sentenced to at least life without the possibility of parole. I think they wanted to keep them from looking at each other. Didn't he try to yell, "I love you" to her last time? Yep, you are absolutely right. And he absolutely did. Allegedly, he yelled, "I love you" to Rebecca and was thrown to the ground. Allegedly. And it was exaggerated how he was thrown to the ground, manhandled like a rag doll or something to that effect. I can't remember exactly. And, he basically cried about it or whined about it. And Jake Haro is not a very small man, so I don't see him being thrown to the ground like a rag doll. But he can't be communicating with her because he's a narcissistic type person from all aspects, right? And with him even shouting, "I love you" to her, he's keeping that mind control over her. He's keeping her conformed to his will. Oh, he said he loves me and he got in trouble for it. And that lets me know that he loves me and he's sticking to our story. And I know that I'm safe and I just need to do what he tells me to do and everything's going to be okay. And I think she's starting to realize that that's not the case. And by them keeping him from looking at her or speaking to her, it's going to help them instill and make Rebecca realize this man has you brainwashed and we got to break you out of that cycle, in my opinion. Right. More manipulation, brown-eyed butterfly. Edith, hey, good to see you, love. Dandy said, stay safe, everyone. Yes, please stay safe, everybody up there. On the Massachusetts line in Connecticut, where the tornado warning is. Lala, good to see you. Said about her bruise. By the way, I got hit by a car like 4 days ago. Lord have mercy. Are you okay? I didn't have any bruises until today, so that black eye happened to her at least a week prior. Yeah, a lot of times you won't see bruising until afterwards. And we looked at the breakdown from SF Investigates on X, and it said the first day or so, it would just be red, and then the bruising would show up afterwards. Turpins are really creepy. They're going to be loving each other from prison. Well, you know, it can be ordered that they aren't allowed to talk to each other. The Seth Jackson case from Florida comes to mind. It was ordered that Michael Bargo and Amber not have contact with each other, and they're not allowed to write to each other. And they definitely aren't going to be allowed to talk to each other right now because they're co-defendants. I'm wondering if they're going to separate the case or keep it together, try them together or separately.
On different sides of the courtroom, didn't really look at each other, but they were arraigned together in the same hearing with separate attorneys. Their court appearance, though, it was brief. Again, they didn't even really look at each other. They didn't really say much.
Okay, so she was moving. Just Bree said, I think this photo of her, she does look way more upset, and that bruise is still fading. Yeah. I think it is an actual video because you can see her move the slightest bit. Watch when they pan to her. You'll see her move.
Of the court.
Did you see it? She moved just a little bit, but it seems like they're
didn't
playing
really
the
look
same.
at each other, but they were arraigned together in the same hearing with separate attorneys. Their court appearance, though, it was brief. Again, they didn't even really look at each other. They didn't really say much, but they entered their pleas to these charges. And
so they keep playing the same like 2 seconds of footage over and over. And she does blink right when they pan to her at the beginning of this footage. She blinks.
Their court appearance,
That's
though,
the same
it was
footage
brief.
of him.
Again, they didn't even really look at each other. They didn't really say much, but they entered their pleas to these charges, and they both have pleaded not guilty. The Haros are facing charges of murder as well as a felony charge of filing a false report. Heading into today, they were being held on $1 million bond, and that is still what they're being held on right now. The Haros have pushed back on the allegations that they killed their son and that Emmanuel was the victim of prolonged abuse, which is what prosecutors have been saying. Both Jake and Rebecca Haro spoke from jail to Brian Rokos of Southern California News Group. He was in court today for this hearing this morning, and he will join me in just a moment to talk about that. Now, prosecutors believe that Emmanuel Haro died sometime between August 5th and August 14th. They say the 5th was the last time that they can confirm that Emmanuel Haro was seen alive.
So if the 5th was the last time that they can confirm that Emmanuel Haro was seen alive, that makes me wonder about the alleged Costco video where people are saying that he can be seen on video footage. Was he deceased in the stroller on the video footage, or do they not have any video footage from the Costco? I'm wondering. It says right now, counties at risk for a tornado right now in Massachusetts and Connecticut would be Worcester County and the Merrimack Valley. It says the counties at risk for tornadoes in Massachusetts and Connecticut right now include areas northwest of Boston, particularly in Worcester County and the Merrimack Valley. The Storm Prediction Center has highlighted these areas with a marginal risk of severe weather, including the potential for wind damage and low risk of tornadoes. The cold front is expected to stall out over southern New England on Sunday, leading to a rather cloudy and dreary day with some scattered rain showers. So I'm keeping y'all in my thoughts and prayers and hoping that everything goes by and everybody's okay. Kimmy said locations impacted include Torrington, Amenia, Kent, Sharon, Norfolk, Millerton, Falls Village, Cornwall Bridge, Winsted, Dover Plains, New Hartford Center, Northwest Harwinton, Salisbury, Goshen, Colebrook, Cornwall, Smithfield, West Torrington, South Cannon, and Wrightville. So there's more areas. That's in Connecticut. Just Breathe said, yeah, I saw it. I wonder if they told them to refrain from looking in the other direction. Probably. They probably got in trouble. I'm wondering what evidence they have to claim the long-term abuse as well. And I think that Mark will be the first to tell us when he goes to the preliminary hearing. I'm real curious as to that as well. Very windy. That's all I see so far. Well, stay safe, love. They need to provide her with domestic violence materials or classes so she will understand that she's being manipulated. And Jake is displaying classic narcissistic behavior. Once she understands, she will come clean. I hope her lawyers are doing that. No, you're good. I appreciate what you did as well, Kimmy. Thank you. Just Breathe said, y'all stay safe. We had some rain this morning. Thankfully, not too much. I live in Texas where all the flooding happened in July. Oh, my God, that was so horrible. We have an emoji, Camp Mystic emoji, in remembrance of all the children that were lost in that flooding. It was a very sad story. We talked about it here. My heart, horrible.
It was on the 14th, though, that the mom, Rebecca Haro, called 911 from the parking lot of a Southern California sporting goods store in a strip mall, claiming that she had been changing Emmanuel in her car when a man came up behind her and said, quote, "Hola." And then she says she was hit so hard she was knocked out. When she came to, Emmanuel was gone. Here's what she told multiple local television stations in the hours after she made that claim. This is per KABC.
Got him out of the car seat. And I laid him down and so I could get his diapers ready. And somebody said, "Hola," and that's all I remember.
Law enforcement said they quickly found that story that Rebecca was telling to be inconsistent. Local news reporter even said he didn't see tears in her eyes when she gave that emotional plea on camera. When law enforcement challenged Rebecca a couple of days later about inconsistencies in her story, they say she stopped cooperating. Her husband, Jake Haro, also told a story that law enforcement say was a lie.
Whoever took our son, please give him back.
After roughly a week of investigating, law enforcement arrested the Haros at their home on August 22nd. Both were in their pajamas and boxers as they were brought to the police cruisers and put into custody. A couple days.
I want to show y'all something that I saw this morning, and it made me laugh. I'll be honest with you. So we'll take kind of a laugh break, but it does involve this case. I wrote down my timestamp, and we're going to go back to I don't know if it was that far. Hold on, where is it? There it is. We're going to go back and listen to how she explained it happening. Let me make sure I get all of it.
She was hit so hard she was knocked out. When she came to, a man.
Okay, hold on.
Southern California sporting goods store in a strip mall, claiming that she had been changing a manual in her car when a man came up behind her and said, quote, "Hola." And then she says she was hit so hard she was knocked out. When she came to, a manual was gone. Here's what she told multiple local television stations in the hours after she made that claim. This is per KABC.
Got him
Now listen.
out of the car seat. And I laid him down and so I could get his diapers ready. And somebody said, "Hola," and that's all I remember.
Law enforcement.
Now we're going to jump over because somebody has made a very highly accurate video that shows us how everything happened just the way she said. Now here you can see this is what appears to be Rebecca Haro outside of the Big Five in Yucaipa. So here we can see it play out before our very eyes.
Hola, señorita.
So there it is. That is allegedly what Rebecca said happened. Yeah, your life is over. It is. Again, we'll watch it one more time. This is how Rebecca says that everything goes. Still continuing, as far as we know, to this day, this is what she said happened.
Hola, señorita.
Lord of mercy. I'm going to play it with the music off. He said, "Hola." I was trying to get that part so that if I have to take out because of the music, y'all can still see what happens. So again, that's what Rebecca claims happened. She's pulling, he says, "Hola," smacks her in the head, and then just stares at her and watches her fall while still standing on the side of the truck, and then grabs baby Emmanuel. Story to this day. All right. Now we'll go back here and continue watching.
Said they quickly found that story that Rebecca was telling to be inconsistent. Local news reporter even said he didn't see tears in her eyes when she gave that emotional plea on camera. When law enforcement challenged Rebecca a couple of days later about inconsistencies in her story, they say she stopped cooperating. Her husband, Jake Haro, also told a story that law enforcement say was a lie.
So yeah, I do have video footage from it's a Netflix show and it's called Insatiable. And there is a clip. I'll see if I still have it on here. Sometimes I'll grab stuff and upload it. Yeah, I do. Hold on, I'll show you. This is where they think she got inspiration from. Now my edit, the only one, oh, hold on. This one says hello. It's auto dubbed, but in the original, in the video clip for Insatiable for Netflix, the person does say hola.
Hello.
They say hola and then
Hello.
taser in the parking lot.
Hello. Hello. Oh, no. Hello.
Oh, sorry, hold on. So that's allegedly, that's where some people think she got the inspiration for her story from. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Yep, it's that Netflix show called Insatiable. I've never seen it, but I heard that is where that came from.
Whoever took our son, please give him back.
After roughly a week of investigating, law enforcement arrested the Haros at their home on August 22nd. Both were in their pajamas and boxers as they were brought to the police cruisers and put into custody. A couple days after the arrest, we saw Jake Haro out with investigators in a field on the side of a highway about 22 minutes from his home. Now, we don't know why Jake was out there with investigators. When asked about that and if he knew where Emmanuel's remains were, this is what the Riverside County, California District Attorney said.
Yes.
Just Breathe said, I can't even imagine what went through their minds and how they thought this was all going to work out for them. I don't either. There's been a lot of speculation about why they finally came out and said something, because everybody speculates that Emmanuel had been gone for some time before they actually reported him missing. And there's a lot of questions in this case. I think that won't be answered until the preliminary hearing, if they are ever answered. Why did they come out, and how did they think this story was going to work for them? Why did he think he was going to get away with it? Why didn't the probation officer, do something to get those kids out of his care? Who was the report of abuse against the Haros in the Moreno Valley the day before Jake went out searching for Emmanuel's remains? Lots and lots of questions that need answers. Lala said of all the shit she could make up, she chose that. She's such a weirdo. Right? Infield is, oh, goodness. Jake the fake said, just breathe. She may as well have said he hit me with a maraca. I mean, really, like, seriously. The way she portrayed it is just, no ma'am. No ma'am. Stop it.
We have a pretty strong indication of where the remains of baby Emmanuel are. So that investigation is ongoing at this time.
The next time the Haros case is expected in court will be on September 16th. Before I get back to this episode of On the Case, which is one of the most watched shows on all of YouTube, I need to talk about our partner and sponsor, Morgan & Morgan.
We're not going to listen to Morgan & Morgan. This guy, okay, we're going to hear from the guy who interviewed Jake Haro from behind bars. I found this really interesting.
Once again, is Brian Rokos of Southern California News Group. You can read his work, including today's story on this case, at pressenterprise.com. Thanks for your time again, Brian. It's been great to talk to you.
So he's going to tell us what it was like to interview Jake from behind bars, what he thought, what he felt, and all of that, which I also found very interesting. Julie said the sheer fact that she said he was 7 months when he was really close to 9 months was the first red flag. Exactly. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If anyone is a good candidate for the death penalty, it's Jake. I agree. Brown-eyed butterfly. I do. He needs, something should have been done when Carolina Rose was abused, and our justice system failed that time because of the DA and the judge. Both are to be held accountable for that, and I hope they will be at some point. But we need to make sure that that doesn't happen again, and that Emmanuel gets justice. And I really, really hope that DA Mike Hestron really does see it through this time. He's blaming solely the judge for Carolina Rose, and it was the DA as well, the DA undercharged. The whole world's bullshit detector went off, right? When she gave that first interview, everybody said her story was bullshit.
Yeah. A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. A bullshit.
Hold on, I have got actual footage from inside the Haros vehicle where another baby was at that was unharmed. And we asked the baby if what Rebecca said was true, and this was the baby's response from inside the Haro vehicle.
Yeah. A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. A bullshit.
The child was quickly removed from the vehicle and placed back with his mother. But he told us the truth. Out of mouths of babes, In
what has been a very, very sad case. As far as the arraignment today for Jake and Rebecca Haro, what stood out to you about what happened in the courtroom?
Me too.
Well, it was just a pretty typical arraignment. These hearings last just a very few minutes. The attorneys for the Haros, they have their own sets of attorneys, entered not guilty pleas on their behalfs, and then they scheduled another hearing for September 16, and that's going to be kind of like a housekeeping hearing. Kind of what's notable about the attorneys themselves.
So, like he said, like he and Mark said, the September 16th hearing for the felony settlement conference is going to be like a housekeeping conference. to see if they can come to a plea deal. And the DA has already said he's not going to do a plea deal. Hopefully he sticks by that. Cindy pointed out that the sad part is that the DA, not the judge, will ever be sanctioned because they are both immune by the system. Yeah, I don't think that, unfortunately, we probably won't ever see justice for Carolina Rose. And it's sad. I wish we would, and I wish there was a way. But just like Madeline and Jen Soto, you know, seeing charges for Jennifer Soto, I don't think it's going to happen. Those cases are closed. The state of California feels like they've done their job. The state of Florida feels like they've done their job. And they won't see any actual prosecution for it. Lori, I don't know if I did. I will check my email and see. I appreciate you sending me that. That would be my kid's response for real if I like mine too. Mine would be like, what did you say? Because that's not what happened. Like, they would call me out on the spot. They would be like, I could hear it now. Now you tell us that we're not supposed to lie and we'll get in trouble. So why are you lying right now? And if the baby was gone for as long as some of us suspect, couldn't they come up with a better story? Come on. Exactly. Yep. That stash that's going to get up and walk off. You hear me? That stash going to get up and walk off and create a life all its own.
Is your viewers might remember the case of David and Louise Turpin in Paris, California. They had 13 children.
Hey, Sharon.
And they went to prison for abuse and neglect and torture and perjury. And David's attorney in that case from the public defender's office, she's one of the attorneys for Jake. And the court-appointed attorney for Louise Turpin, he's been appointed the attorney for Rebecca Haro. So these are very, very experienced attorneys with very serious cases. They all have at least 20 years of experience, as does the prosecutor, who is a very high-ranking prosecutor in the Riverside County District Attorney's Office, and that's Assistant District Attorney Brandon Smith.
Now, what stood out to me that I didn't remember from before is that these attorneys are from the public defender's office. If we want to talk about OJ and Casey Anthony, like I was before, those were lawyers that were hired by those defendants to represent them. With the lawyer being from the public defender's office, I mean, you know, that's always good that they have that option available. But 9 times out of 10, they're already working for the state. Okay. So your representation is going to kind of reflect that. I'm not saying that you would be represented badly, but the public defender's office, like, it's not the same as hiring your own attorney. So the fact that they did get a public defender does also make me feel better. And like their charge might be like what the Turpins got, life with the possibility of parole, although I hope it's without the possibility of parole, because if they were to be able to parole out in 25 years, they would probably still have some life to live. Hey, Blue Jay, good to see you. Hey, Tom, it was pretty good. Trout eating the streamers well. Awesome. Turpin case was a trip. Yeah, don't forget to catch yourself a break while you're there.
I know that they were both. So they were arrested at the same time. They're being held at separate facilities. They were at this same hearing at the same time, but they have different attorneys. How do you see the cases playing out if this was to go to trial?
Well, based on what Jake had told me in the jailhouse interview I did with him, he said that Rebecca is innocent, but he wouldn't talk about his own culpability, whether he had any, whether, I gave him an opportunity to say that, it was an accident, something like that, and he wouldn't go there. So my guess is that Jake would not turn against his wife. Whether Rebecca would turn against her husband, I don't know.
I think Rebecca would, if you taught her, like you guys were saying before, what abuse is and show her how she's been controlled by him. I think that Rebecca might legitimately be innocent of the actual homicide, but guilty of covering it up. I think Jake did this. It is completely possible that he said something to her, punched her in the face, and that's how she got the black eyes, knocked her out. And when she woke up, Emmanuel was gone. She just portrayed it as somebody in a parking lot, when all actuality, it could have been allegedly Jake. And it could have allegedly happened at their house. Jake might be the one that's guilty for the homicide of Emmanuel, but she is guilty as well by proxy for covering it up, lying to the police, creating this whole elaborate story, and not going and getting help immediately when it happened, if that is indeed what happened.
Sometimes in these cases with multiple defendants, the attorneys work in concert with each other, but it could also go the other way. Right now, it's just so early in the case. It's difficult to know how that's going to play out. As we go along, there might be motions. There might be things that the attorneys say in court that might give us some insight into how they're going to play this.
I remember when we talked about your interview with Jake, that he talked about, I think there was like some moment where he was trying to say something to Rebecca at some point. He's really stood by her, said that he loved her. When you looked at the body language today, because from some of the video that I've seen thus far, they both seem pretty stoic in court during this hearing today. What stood out to you about just how they interacted?
Well, they were sitting on opposite sides of the courtroom. I'm sure that the authorities wanted to prevent them from communicating. That might be why they're in separate jails. And both, by the way, are in protective custody.
Yeah, and Mark told us that, which I found really interesting. Good morning, Norma. It's good to see you. Mama Mia said, I think Jake would turn against Rebecca for sure to save his own ass, just like he did the first time with Carolina Rose. Cindy said, I call bullshit on Jake not turning against Rebecca just because he said that to a reporter. Yeah, I think that considering that he did turn against his ex-wife, I think it's very plausible, but she needs to talk first. It's interesting to me that he said that that Rebecca is innocent, though, and won't talk about how he's guilty of it. It would be interesting if he said we're both innocent, but he didn't. He said Rebecca is innocent, letting on that maybe he would take the fall for her. Do I think he will in the end if he's facing life or the possible death penalty, which I don't think he can. I think they abolished the death penalty there. But at the end of it all, no, I think he'd take Rebecca down with him. But for right now, I would love to know if he said I'm also innocent. I think that he said he didn't say how he was culpable, implying that only Rebecca is innocent. So that's interesting. Yep, that's what he did in the past. Blue Jay said justice for Emmanuel. I'm hoping that he gets justice. Tom said Jake is a narcissistic psychopath. They only think about themselves. Absolutely. He said that hoping it would get back to Rebecca, just more manipulation. Brown-eyed butterfly, you're absolutely correct. Kalisa pointed out how they could be using the media to communicate with each other without anybody else knowing. For instance, Jake going and searching in that field would have been played on TV. And if Rebecca was able to see that, she would know that Jake had lied, and that's not where baby Emmanuel's remains were, therefore knowing to stick to her story. Because Jake had not turned her in, had not told the truth about where baby Emmanuel was. I think it's entirely possible that they are doing things like that. Mama Mia says she needs to realize he doesn't love anybody but himself. Making her realize that is going to be the problem, because she is entirely brainwashed and warped from her years of being with him.
And pretty typical in court hearings, the defendants just sit there. They don't react. They certainly cannot signal each other, because that's a misdemeanor. So they just sat there, but basically, and I mean, this was a very short hearing. I bet it lasted 3-4 minutes. Jake did sit there with his arms folded. The only time he spoke is he answered yes to one of the judge's questions, and Rebecca didn't say anything at all. didn't see them really looking at each other. It would have been difficult to begin with because the attorneys were positioned in such a way that the defendants were blocked pretty much from the media's view. We could see Jake a little bit better, but nothing stood out as far as body language, facial expressions, anything like that.
When you interviewed Jake in jail, and we've seen him in that news clip after Emmanuel, and they claim that he had been kidnapped, and Jake was emotional, kind of looks in the camera and he's like, please someone bring my son home, something along those lines. And then we see him in court, he's very stoic. Like, how would you characterize just how he is to talk to, like the mannerisms, and who he is when you actually, and I think of not just you, but also detectives who have sat down with him trying to figure out what exactly happened to this boy.
Now, remember how Mark described him as negative. You could almost feel like an evilness about them, a demonic entity almost, stoic, scary. Lots of adjectives to describe Jake Haro. So I'm wondering what he's going to say. Hannah asked, is that nose hair or a mustache? I think it's a bit of both. Either way, that mustache right there is living a life all its own. The eyebrows and the mustache, yes. Very, very, very intriguing. Very intriguing.
He did seem a little overwhelmed by the circumstances when I talked to him. He didn't break down, but he was constantly wiping sweat from his face. He said he wanted to tell his side, but his lawyer advised him not to. But he wasn't defiant. He wasn't sad. He didn't act like he was worried or not worried, but just he seemed sweaty and overwhelmed. And he said, I said, what would you say to Emmanuel if you could? And he said, I love you, buddy.
What was that like for you because you go into...
I couldn't imagine asking him what he would say to Emmanuel if he could, and him saying, I love you, buddy. Like that, it would have taken everything in me not to get up and slap him. And hearing him say that he presented himself as overwhelmed, sweaty, which would imply nervous, humble comes to mind, like trying to seem meek or not as manipulative, narcissistic, and off-putting as he actually is. Basically putting on a front. Keep in mind, he knows that this man that was there to interview him is from the media, and that everything he says will be printed and put out in the media. So how then is he going to present himself? He's going to present himself in a way that makes him look the least guilty, as overwhelmed, afraid, saying things like, I want to tell my side of the story, but I've been advised by my lawyer that I can't, which is, like a duh thing. Everybody knows that. But by him saying that I want to tell my side of the story, it makes him more relatable, more, he feels like he's being more like, it's not what you think. I want to tell you my side and all of that. The toupee. So I think he was very methodical in the way he presented himself to this reporter from The Sun.
These interviews, I mean, you don't really know what to expect. And
right.
And then after all of this, and this was also after we had seen him out in the field, on the side of the highway. And we don't know what he's told, detectives, and as far as prosecutors have said, like, he hasn't confessed or anything like that. But even in that moment where he says, I love you, buddy, what was going through your mind when you heard that?
That he was just thinking of something to say.
Really?
I didn't seem calculated, but he probably at that point in the interview, when he said that Rebecca is innocent and that he didn't want to talk about his role, I mean, it was kind of clear that something happened. And, you know, he didn't say that Emmanuel was kidnapped. And so at that point, you know, I really wonder, you know, I try not to make judgments about guilt or innocence, but when he's saying, "I love you, buddy," it kind of rang a little hollow, just because what he had told me earlier, that it made it sound like something happened. Maybe it was something he said out of regret. Again, he and Rebecca are both presumed innocent. So, you know, who knows? This might take a turn we're not expecting. But you know, as far as what it was like, I mean, when you're in a jail, those aren't friendly places.
So it's interesting that he talks about it being words that he's just saying, something to make him look good, because he had already basically, without saying it out loud, let it be known that something did happen and that Emmanuel was not with us anymore. He said Rebecca's innocent, therefore implying that he did something, and Emmanuel's no longer with us. So for him to say, if he could say something to Emmanuel, the way he's saying it is like, hey y'all, I don't know if you can hear me, but we lost power. I'm getting my computer back up right now. Hold on. Let me turn on my hotspot so I can get back up. Okay. All right, hold on just a minute. My computer is starting back up. There's a storm here too. I don't know if y'all could hear it in my background, but like the thunder is really loud. I was actually a little concerned. The geese got out of the pool, so I think they were concerned as well. Let me make sure I'm connected. Yep, it's connected to my Wi-Fi, and it's pulling everything back up right where we were. I do believe all my tabs are back up. I'm entering the studio. Hold on just a minute. All right. Let me close everything. Okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully we won't lose power again. Let me pull this back up because it pulled my tabs right back up. Amelia. Okay, good. Hi, Amelia. There's a heck of a storm coming up here in Statesville. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It was thundering pretty loud. All right.
What was that like for you when because you go into these interviews, and I mean, you don't really know what to expect. And,
right.
And then
we heard part of that.
That
there
he was just thinking of something to say.
Allegedly speculating, and speculation has entered the chat.
I didn't seem calculated, but he probably, at that point in the interview, when he said that Rebecca is innocent and that he didn't want to talk about his role, I mean, it was kind of clear that something happened.
Bagel.
And, you know, he didn't say that Emmanuel was kidnapped. And so at that point, you know, I really wonder, you know, I try not to make judgments about guilt or innocence, but when he's saying, "I love you, buddy," it kind of rang a little hollow.
But like something he just needed, he said because he felt like he needed to say something that sounded good. It's good to see you, and I'm sorry you were awoken by a bad storm. I hope that all of y'all are okay out there going through the storms. Hey, Psychic Amelia, good to see you. I hope you all stay safe as well.
Because what he had told me earlier, that it made it sound like something happened. Maybe it was something he said out of regret. Again, he and Rebecca are both presumed innocent. So, you know, who knows? This might take a turn we're not expecting. But you know, as far as what it was like, I mean, when you're in a jail, those aren't friendly places. I spoke pretty much face to face with Rebecca with plastic plexiglass in front of us. Jake was a little different. We were in different buildings, and it was a video hookup like we're doing here. But jails are cold and lonely places, and I don't like spending any time in them more than I need to. And I'm glad I get to leave, you know, when I want. And
hey, beach
you know,
lover.
you prepare for the interview. You have some questions that you think you'd like to ask. You're always mindful that you might have to pivot if it goes in a different direction. And so it's kind of intense a little bit because you're constantly thinking, okay, he said this, now what should I say? And how much weight do I give to it? And where do I go from here? And you want to keep him talking so you don't go in guns a-blazing, you know, saying, you know, did you kill Emmanuel? Because you don't want him to shut you down.
Right.
So it's just, it's strange and intense, and you don't know what's going to happen, like you said. And you don't know, you know, I've been lied to. I've received confessions. So I just kind of write what I hear and let things play out and let people decide for themselves what they think of what the defendants say.
You know, when Jake Haro, you know, people started looking into his past once his name, you know, and he put the name in the news. You know, I mean, he was the one who was on TV himself looking into the camera and saying that. So, you know,
exactly.
He, you know, clearly if they're guilty of what they're accused of, they definitely brought it upon themselves. But at the same time, they were the ones who went on TV. And then once people start diving into Jake Haro's past and they see the child cruelty conviction, but then they also see the sentence or lack thereof that he got. He was on probation. And Michael Hestron, the Riverside DA, his office prosecuting this case, like he did not hold back, feeling like it was a light sentence, that Jake Haro got off, got a big break. And since that news conference, just what is because I see the buzz on social media.
So, yeah, it was interesting that the DA came out kind of guns a-blazing, as they just so eloquently put, talking about that sentence and how the judge gave him a light sentence. I think that he knew it was going to be looked down upon from all aspects, especially by the media, because it already was. And I mean, obviously, he barely got any time for what he did to a poor, innocent 10-week-old child, his daughter, as a matter of fact. And so I think District Attorney Mike Hestron was kind of trying to cover his ass and not, but at the same time, he wasn't taking any accountability for what he did, right? At all. And we're going to talk about that more in just a second.
Media, and I'm not there, but I mean, for you being in Riverside County and covering that area, I mean, what's the buzz been and the fallout about that previous case that Jake Haro was involved in? Yeah,
well, I'm planning to write a story about the judge's decision. I plan to reach out to various experts in the field, if you will, criminal defense, judging, that kind of thing, just to try to take their temperature of what's reasonable and what's not. And someone I spoke to, it was an off the record conversation just to take his temperature. But, you know, he said that it might seem light, but then there might be some mitigating circumstances. Jake didn't have much of a criminal record. And, you know, there's pressure on judges to keep people out of prison in California. And maybe the judge said, well, here's a chance to give a guy a break. And, you know, maybe he seems sincere. And so we'll send him to a child batterers 52-week program. And, you know, hopefully that will help prevent him from reoffending again. But the Riverside County Sheriff, Chad Bianco, told me that he considers Jake to be what he called an experienced child abuser. So the sheriff said that Jake knows what to say, knows what questions are going to be asked, knows what's going to be said in court.
Right. He's been through this before. And speaking of that, I wanted to share with you guys, I am working on getting the transcripts, but we do have JoJo's Crime Lines and Mysteries, who is in our channel sometimes, and she got the transcripts and she started reading them in a live stream the other day. So this is Jake Haro hearing transcript part 1, Where's Baby Emmanuel? I wanted to share that with you guys and let you know that I am also working on getting those transcripts. She told me how to get it. I have submitted the request, but obviously, you know, it's the weekend, so I haven't gotten that back yet. But she's got a lot of information on all of these things. So definitely check her out. She's sometimes in chat if you guys want to go over there. And when I get the transcripts, we'll definitely review it. But yeah, like Julianne said, experienced abuser, right? Like it's such a horrible thing to even say out loud, an experienced child abuser. How sick is that? And it just makes you reflect on the fact that baby Emmanuel could have been saved and the importance of Emmanuel's law that we talked about earlier. Give him classes and maybe he'll not abuse again is the most ridiculous thing. Right. And then it was called child batters classes. Like it sounded like you're teaching a child how to play baseball or something. Child batters classes. Like, yeah, I got to go take my child batters class tonight because I bat on children. I basically hit children. I batter children. The whole thing is sick. And who came up with the program child batters classes? Why are we giving? I've got so many questions about that alone.
And knows how to game the system, to his advantage. One thing that's in our story today that's kind of interesting is when you go to like one of these DUI offenders programs or domestic violence offenders programs, they file with the court a report, like a report card at the end of the class. And these were 52 classes over a year. And the counselor, he check a box from 1 to 10. How likely is it that the person will reoffend? 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, 1 being the least likely. And that's what Jake Haro got. Least likely to reoffend. And this is, again, the counseling he received after the 2023 conviction.
So when he took this class, they gave him a score of the least likely person to reoffend. And that just shows you how manipulative he is. Because, again, Emmanuel died, per the DA, after years of abuse at the hands of his father. He died from years of being abused. Yet when he took the child batters classes, so eloquently named, he was deemed the least likely to reoffend. And here we are now. Good gracious. Makes me sick.
And just real briefly, it says, Mr. Jake Haro continues to attend his assigned parenting class. He participated a great deal in the class. He showed a lot of insight into his behavior, and we think that he's benefited from these classes. So, you know, did he BS the counselors or?
Yeah, he BS'd the counselors. Like what? He came and participated and was vocal in class. So therefore, he's not going to hurt another children. Let's just give him all the children and let him open a freaking daycare. Like what? I don't care what happened in his group fucking therapy. Whose decision was it to let him keep the children and not call CPS and have them checked on? Not call somebody, a doctor, anybody. because or not years, but long-term abuse for a 7-month-old, possibly 9-month-old, to suffer and then die at the hands of someone who the whole thing is fucked. It's all fucked up. Yeah, you shouldn't have classes for how to not abuse your child. Like, the only class that needs to happen is the person abusing the child needs to be abused themselves. Maybe they won't reoffend, but we need to keep serious check. Like, open CPS case for a long motherfucking time if they have children again. And then something to the extent of Carolina Rose. Remember, she's only got 3% of brain function left. She will never be able to do anything by herself and has to have phlegm cleared out of her tracheotomy every couple of hours so she doesn't choke and die. And we're going to let him be, he's the least likely to reoffend. Get all the fucking way out of here.
Or was this true, that he, really gained some insight? And again, he hasn't been convicted of in the Emmanuel case, but, you read something like this and then you see the charges against him and you wonder, did he BS these counselors? And I did reach out to the counseling program, and
I wonder what they had to say. Cindy said, I used to teach a 6-week court-ordered parenting class. The paperwork was bullshit, in my opinion, and I stopped because I did not believe 6 weeks was any use for that subject. I agree. Like, it needs to be like a 6 to 9 month extensive program, and then even after that, we need to be keeping an extensive check on the children for a long time. Kate said, agree with that. That's the only class. Yeah, they need to be taken out back and receive the same abuse that they showed to them children. Pick Jake up with a freaking forklift and then knock him out of it, because that's about what the baby suffered. And then see how he feels about it.
They haven't responded.
Because I also think, too, is like in some ways, and this was still alleged at the time, but he had a probation violation that he was still due in court for, I think in September at the time that he was, when he was arrested for, like, that case was already, like, he had, not reoffend in terms of what he was guilty of, but he did violate or was accused of violating that probation, wasn't he?
Right. That's a felon or an addict in possession of a firearm. And so that case, and there's one other case that have been consolidated in the murder case. And so his attorneys in the Emmanuel case are representing him on those other cases. So yes, he's absolutely going to have to deal with that other charge, the firearm charge, the probation violation. But of course, those are small potatoes compared to what he's facing now.
Right, but we wouldn't even be dealing with what he's facing now if it had only been continued 14 instead of 15 times, 15 instead of 16, 10 instead of 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever. Like, there was at least 15 more opportunities to lock him up. And those are 15 times that Emmanuel could have kept from being beat. 15 times that we could have saved his life if they'd have had a 20 to 45 minute hearing and said he needs to go to jail. At that point, the DA would have seen a different DA or the same DA or whatever would have seen the original charge and said you were given a sweetheart deal, the deal of a lifetime, and yet here you are violating probation. Yes, send his ass to jail. Fucking immediately. You were given the deal of a lifetime and you can't even respect that enough to not violate your probation. Fuck that, go to jail. And Emmanuel would be here. He would have been born, and he would have, if you'd have just put him in jail when he violated probation, Emmanuel would have been created, he would have been born, and he would still be alive. Norma said 15 times exactly. Thank you. It's insane. I get calls weekly from my nonprofit to take parenting classes for court. I tell them we do not offer them. Dang. Weekly, people are offending and needing to take parenting classes. Weekly. Julianne said, who comes up with these things? 6 weeks is going to knock the abuser out of you. Like, the hell it will. Right. All right, Brown Eyed. Have a good day, love.
Are you hearing anything more? Because the other part of the news conference that was just kind of this ominous way to answer a question is when the DA was asked if he knew where Emmanuel's remains were, and he said,
Ange said, in my opinion, that counselor needs to be investigated. The scumbag that did such harsh abuse to a 10-week-old doesn't fit in that so-called box. Yep. Let me get it with a boom, 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 bop, bam. Please investigate that counselor. As a kinship foster parent, I had to go through way more than this guy who beat a child nearly to death. And that's another thing, like to adopt children or to be a foster parent. Yeah, there's like way more involved than what they're doing to their own freaking children. I'm appalled by the justice system.
He has a pretty good idea, but wouldn't really go any deeper into that. It doesn't seem like that there's this, very public looking search as if, when, if they knew where he was and he was out in a field or they thought he was put somewhere, that you might expect to see if they knew where it was. Is there anything more we're learning about what the DA meant by that?
No, we're not. I did talk to the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and I asked about active searches. And they said, we will search on foot when we get leads that prompt us to go in a certain direction. So they're definitely not out turning over rocks and things like that in random places. But what Mike Hestron meant by we know the general location, I don't really know, because if they had been, so they went out to this area, that brushy hillside area, and you would assume that when he's talking about, we think we know where he is, he would be talking about that, because that is apparently where Jake Haro led them, or they had reason to believe that Emmanuel might be there. And what's odd is if they really thought he was there, how come we're not hearing about them digging up the whole hillside?
How come we're not seeing them go back? And why did the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office said if they get information, they'll search on foot? I really think he's in the landfill. Blue Jay said children just won't get enough protection from their parents. They can't spank children anymore, but they can abuse them. Please make this make sense. Again, good question, good points.
And that's just not happening. So it's a puzzle as to exactly what's going on with that aspect of the investigation.
No, it just seems it was an interesting way to answer the question where they clearly believe that they have the evidence that shows this pattern of abuse they say happened that eventually ended Emmanuel's life, but then it's just kind of this where are the remains? And we'll see, as the more information comes out, if discovery, it gets to the point in a trial phase, we'll see how it all plays out. And final question, Brian, and this is kind of on the spot, but just I was thinking with like the Turpin case, and that was very high profile in Riverside County. I mean, that was a horrific case of neglect and abuse. And what do you remember about how that DA's office prosecuted that case as far as what people could expect with how the Riverside County District Attorney could prosecute this one?
Good question.
Well, they filed 88 charges against David and Louise Turpin and eventually wound up essentially doing a plea deal with 14 counts. And as it was put to me, it was essentially one for each of the 13 children.
So they pled down. They ended up doing a plea deal. And the Turpin case, I don't know. That makes me concerned about them doing a plea deal with this case. Kim said, I think I see bruises on Emmanuel's ribs and across his forehead. There appears to be some kind of scar that our lovely Abellis pointed out over that right eye there of his in that picture. And then in the other one where he looks afraid, I haven't looked at his ribs, but I think some people have said they see that as well. It wouldn't surprise me. Prosecutor is a creep. I will tell you a great in-home intensive parenting program is through Boys Town. I just wish they were in more states. Boys Town is a good one. Okay, awesome. I wonder if the little girl Jake is holding ever got abused. I think so, because remember the day before they went out to the Moreno Valley to search for Emmanuel, they said that there is another child, or they said that the Haros have another child abuse charge against them for a child in the Moreno Valley. I think that could be the 2-year-old. I think that the 2-year-old got placed with a foster family or with relatives, and they noticed that the 2-year-old had maybe some ribs or was abused in some way, maybe had some bones that had been fractured and were healing. I think she showed some signs of abuse, and I think they're going to get charged with that as well, which they absolutely should if she does. No, this is that man that we're listening to is a reporter from The Sun who interviewed Jake and Rebecca from behind bars.
They, you know, it was a difficult prosecution for them because the victims were very cognitively impaired, and Mike Hestron said he was willing to put them on the stand if he had to, but I don't think he really wanted to. And so I'm sure that they were very interested in getting a plea deal done. I mean, no one said that to me, but you know, given the circumstances and what they had to work with as far as witnesses, you know, I think that was a pretty predictable outcome. The Emmanuel case, it's very different. I think a lot because of the pressure from the public, and Mike Hestron is a politician. He gets voted on every 4 or 6 years. You know, he's already said there will be no plea deals.
Hopefully.
So, and this is going to be different because we don't know who are the witnesses. What do they have? Who can they put on the stand? They are determined to go through with this. Hestron personally prosecuted successfully a bodiless case last year, but he had a lot of circumstantial evidence in that. He had incriminating text messages. He had surveillance images. And so far, we don't know what they have. We had requested the affidavits written to get the arrest warrant and the search warrants, and those have been denied by the district attorney's office.
So that's why it's going to be so very important to hear from Mark and for you to be subscribed to Mark when he goes to that preliminary hearing. That preliminary hearing is going to tell us everything that we need to know, I think.
And the sheriff's department citing the ongoing investigation. So they do have to lay out their cases in those documents, and so I'm sure they're going to hold on to that as long as they can. But obviously, they are required to turn everything over to the defense attorneys, just not the you and me public.
Because there's just so much in many stories these days, especially national stories, and when you have bloggers who are following it, these reports of what they found, what they didn't find through like anonymous sourcing, and they really haven't released much information other than kind of saying, the broad strokes of between August 5th and August 14th, and they believe it was long time abuse, and other than that, they've been pretty quiet for the most part. So it'll be interesting to see what's in those documents.
Right, and they're going to have to lay out their case to some extent when there's a preliminary hearing. That we don't know exactly when that'll be. They did set a date, but that's just Fantasyland stuff. It'll take a lot longer than that. But that's what we're looking forward to. If the documents don't come out, they're going to have to lay out a legitimate case. They're not going to be able to just say, Emmanuel disappeared. He was in the custody of the parents. The stories were inconsistent. I mean,
I agree. Here we have the picture that you guys were referencing, and it does look like there's some kind of bruising under his arm right there and over to his little chest by his little breast area. And that makes me question, like, because they said the Haros have not confessed. So are they getting the fact that Emmanuel was abused over a long period of time from the photos of Emmanuel and looking at him decline? As a lot of you have pointed out, it looks like he's declined over the time that the photos were taken. Did they get some kind of professional or medical examiner to talk to them about the photos that we do have of Emmanuel? And did they say that they can tell that he was abused over a long period of time? And is that where they're getting that from? I'm very curious to know. Hey, Zan. Yeah, Mark's channel is pinned at the top. Good to see you, Zan.
I can't imagine that the judge would, hold them to trial for that. So they're going to have a lot more. And just one other little final note, Jeff Moore, Rebecca's attorney today in court, said that the crimes are alleged to have happened in Cabazon, where the parents live, and that there's a courthouse nearer to that in Banning, in more central Riverside County. And that would be about 45 minutes east of where we are in Riverside. And he thought it would be more appropriate to hold the trial there, or the case there, which is kind of an odd thing, because Jeff Moore's office, the district attorney's office, and the public defender's office are all about one block from the Riverside Hall of Justice. So moving the case certainly would not be for the attorney's convenience. And my guess is that, he would be hoping that the media hordes would not trek out to Banning for the case. That's a logical conclusion, but I can't say that, with 100% certainty that that's Jeff Moore's motivation.
So he's thinking that they asked to move the case to kind of keep the media out of it, which I don't know if that would be an accurate guess either. I don't know. It sounds a little questionable to me. His skin did look different colors under his arms in that picture, didn't they? It was a little concerning. I mean, once I actually looked at it, I don't know. Very interesting. Very interesting. And I appreciate the interviews. One from Mark, and then another one from the man from the U.S. Sun who interviewed Jake and Rebecca Haro behind bars. I do appreciate the information that they gave us and the insight, especially Mark describing what it was like to be in that courtroom and to see them and their presence in the courtroom, and it being a small enclosed area, and knowing their crimes and just what they did. I couldn't imagine being there and going through that and feeling that the way that he did. Very, very interesting, and I'm very appreciative of all of that. All right, we're going to talk about Giovanni Pelletier real quick, and then we're going to talk some more about Austin Drummond and that phone call. I have gotten several links from the Facebook account that put out those phone calls to talk to you guys about. Let me grab. Where is it at? Cassandra. Hold on a minute. I'm looking through my documents. Hold on just a minute. I'm in custodial under 18 years, mentally handicapped. Oh, these are documents from the 13 children. Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on just a minute. Or where did it go? Okay. I'm looking for my document on Giovanni. Oh, I got a bunch for, okay. Let me grab that real quick. I want to remind you about who Giovanni is and why we're talking about him. So I'm going to find a quick recap. I'm going to pull up. We've got this one from 2 weeks ago. We just saw video footage too that they were able to obtain that the media put out. Okay, I'm gonna play this real quick while I grab my document that I got from my FOIA request on this case.
At this hour, new details to share with you in the death of 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier. The North Carolina teen was last seen alive on Interstate 75 and State Road 70 in Manatee County on August 1st. 8 days later, he was found dead in a Bradenton retention pond.
Today, the Manatee County Sheriff providing new video at a news conference. It shows Pelletier's last known movements. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Kristen Barbarisi joining us live.
Yeah, Kristen, the video does seem to answer a lot of the questions about what might have happened that night.
So just to remind you, he was from Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina. Him and his family were going down to visit other family in Florida. He rode with his cousins to an aunt's house. He texted his mom saying, "Mom, help." Tried to then call them. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and also allegedly tried to call his great aunt asking for help. The cousin said that he got out of the vehicle claiming that there was a demon inside of him, and they dropped him off on the side of an interstate and that they left him there. Allegedly, and you'll see on the video camera footage that he took off from the car and ran, and it appears that he could have fallen possibly into a retention pond. Hey, Cherie from Austin. Good to see you. Hannah said, Abellis is fine. She stated if she comes in chat, she will never leave and her bathroom will never get done. So she will come back when she's done. Thank you for that.
It does. It's now been 11 days since Giovanni's body was found by a family friend in that retention pond. And during that time, investigators have come out to this area, searched here, searched the pond multiple times. They also uncovered that surveillance video and pulled cell phone records to put together a timeline of exactly what happened leading up to Giovanni's death.
Now that's a steep embankment.
Newly released surveillance video shows Giovanni Pelletier running down an embankment.
The pond is right here.
It's the last time he's seen alive. The sheriff says it started just after 1 a.m. on August 1st. Giovanni was in a car with his cousin and 2 others heading from Charlotte County to Brevard County. The cousin told investigators they were smoking weed and Giovanni started acting erratically.
Telling them I am a demon and I will wreck this car, and says he will kill them all as he tries to open up the door while the car is still moving.
The driver pulled over, Giovanni got out and ran into traffic.
This is the last time they see him.
Police say video from an FDOT camera at 2:19 a.m. backs up their story.
He has on a white shirt. You can see him coming across. Here's a truck trying to avoid hitting him.
1 minute later, this low security camera captures the teen running down that embankment to the pond where his body was found 8 days later.
I mean, the important thing that I want you to see, there's no one chasing him. There's no one around him. In fact, when he's coming down that embankment, the vehicle is 2 miles away.
Cell records show the cousin.
Now, I have issues with that because I don't understand why he's running like that unless somebody was possibly shooting at him or something to that effect. Allegedly, there could have been something in the weed. Yes, ma'am, Miss Kimmy. Cherie, 5:45 a.m. and you're still awake. Get you some sleep, sweetheart. I know his mama was so devastated, poor thing. Visiting family in Florida and this happens. Could you imagine?
Called his grandpa and then Giovanni's mom around 2:26 a.m., but she didn't answer. The cause of death is still pending, but the sheriff says there are no signs of foul play, and the cousin and 2 friends have fully cooperated.
The focus right now is to see what comes.
Now, that was important to me. The focus is to see what comes back from toxicology is what he's saying. But if the cause of death is still undetermined, but there's no foul play, if he died from like drowning in the retention pond, would the cause of death not be drowning? Like, would he not have had water in his lungs? Like, I still have a lot of questions about this. Like, how do we not know the cause of death when it's alleged that he got high, had some kind of bad trip, and ran and fell into the pond? And then what? Like, if he hit his head, maybe. I mean, but again, if he hit his head and then drowned in the retention pond, there would be water in his lungs, and that would be allegedly the cause of death, right? So if there's no water in his lungs and we can't rule that his cause of death was drowning, then what was his cause of death? How does a perfectly healthy 18-year-old boy just die after smoking weed, getting out of a vehicle, and running into a retention pond if his cause of death is not drowning because there was water in his lungs? You know what I mean? Like, why do we not know the cause of death? Connie said, cousin's still suspicious. I agree. If they have video of him running towards the pond, why did it take 8 days to find him? Well, that's the interesting part. His mother posted on Facebook after the police took credit for finding him that the police did not find him, that they reported him missing and the police really didn't do shit about it. So they got a private investigator. His book bag was found on the side of the highway along with his cell phone by a trucker and turned in to authorities. And the cousin said that's where they dropped him off. So they knew to start there. The police had already searched the retention pond and not located him. However, when the family goes out there with a private investigator, they are the ones to locate their loved one's deceased body. 17 or 18-year-old baby. I think he was 18 and had just turned 18. And the family found his body in the retention pond that the cops claimed they had already searched. It's a very sad case. No, they didn't call 911. They just rolled out, left him on the side of a highway in a state that he's not from, where he doesn't know anybody but them, his family. They're going to pull over on the side of the road and just get him out and keep rolling. Like, it's a lot. Zan said, could have been injuries with drowning, and so the coroner can't determine cause of death yet. Okay, that makes sense. So maybe that's what's going on, not going off. I said that because I was reading where she said I've dozed off a few times. You do need to get some sleep, love. It's horrible. It's a horrible case. Cherie said the cousins didn't know him very well, did they? And when he's acted like that, probably thought he was being crazy. Correct. I do agree with that. But so you leave him on the side of a highway in a state that he's not even from?
Back to my toxicology. Is there going to be something that alerts us to another drug that we don't know about?
Giovanni's mom was actually at today's news conference, and it was her first time seeing those videos. She then met with the sheriff privately for about an hour. She declined to comment after that meeting. Live in Bradenton, Kristen Barbarisi, 10 Tampa Bay News.
Okay.
There's no one in.
I had submitted a FOIA request on this case when it first came out, and I got this document back. They sent me this document the other day. If you want this document without the watermarks, you can get it on my Patreon. So it tells us the incident report location, 70 East, 75 southbound UB, August 4th of 2025 at 15:34 hours, and it is for Giovanni Pelletier. His date of birth was April 2nd, 2007. And it gives us the narrative. On August 4th of 2025, I was notified of a missing persons case out of Charlotte County. This is in reference to Charlotte County case number, and it gives that. Manatee County Sheriff's Office was requested to assist with this case in our jurisdiction. On August 4th, 2025, at approximately 1300 hours or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I met with a detective with Charlotte County Sheriff's Office just north of the northbound ramp at State Road 70 on I-75. I was advised that this was the area that Giovanni's backpack and some belongings were originally located on the side of the interstate. These items were picked up on the night of the incident after being located by a truck driver. The truck driver took these items to Tampa Police Department and turned them in. Charlotte County has already obtained these items and have them in their possession. I, along with other Manatee County Sheriff's Office detectives, assisted Charlotte County with walking the area along I-75 to look for additional evidence, and nothing was located. On August 5th of 2025, I was contacted again by Charlotte County and advised that a search and rescue group from Brevard County was planning on coming to the area of State Road 70 and I-75 to search for Giovanni or any other evidence. The search started at approximately 10:30 in the morning on Ranch Lake Boulevard. This road runs parallel to I-75, very close. This road runs parallel to I-75, very close. The search and rescue employee utilized cadaver dogs to search the area as well as a large pond in that area. The dog allegedly alerted to something in or near the pond at the northwest corner behind the Walmart in a swampy wooded area. The drone team was contacted and responded to check the pond. During my time in this area, Charlotte County's helicopter was also in the area searching. Nothing was located. I was advised by Charlotte County that they would be ceasing searching Manatee County for now unless more leads are brought to their attention. During this investigation, tag searchers were completed and there were no hits on the tag readers in Manatee County during this time frame of the incident. This suggests that the vehicle may have not gotten off the I-75 while traveling through Manatee County on I-75, but this is still unknown. Any further investigation involving Manatee County Sheriff's Office will be documented in a supplemental report. So I guess that's the day that they searched, or, you know, the day and the day after. And they did say that cadaver dogs hit, but nothing was located. And it wasn't until 8 days afterwards that the body was found. I will continue checking my documents from them to see if I get anything else. Miss North said, I'm also not sure how effective the toxicology report will be after he'd been out there a while. They must have not checked that pond too good. I don't think they are that deep. Usually retention ponds are not that deep. Did they do that X screen yet? Maybe they're waiting. Maybe. The toxicology, yeah, they're waiting for that. Hey, all I need is Jesus. If the weed was laced, wouldn't everyone that smoked it have freaked out? Not if the people who laced the weed knew it was laced, because they didn't know him that well, and that's why they didn't worry about him and just left him. They thought, we're not dealing with this, and left, obviously not thinking this would happen. But, you know, and I get that, but, like, how could you do that to family? You know what I mean? My daughter did. When an adult gave her something at the age of 15, law enforcement said I couldn't press charges on the adult. That's fucked up. Engineered weed has definitely been causing psychosis in people. Plus, it could have been laced with something. I agree. Can't trust what's in the weed anymore unless you get it from a vendor or medicinal. I agree. It's all messed up. The fact that the police aren't the ones that located him either, and that it was his family and searchers related to his family, it just all, it's really heartbreaking and upsetting. Okay, now we're going to talk about Austin Drummond. I'm going to play this jail phone call video from that I got from a person on Facebook, and we're going to listen to it, and then we're going to go through and we're going to talk about things in the phone call. We might do it while the phone call's playing, I'm not sure, but I found quite a few things from the Arlene that made me question quite a few things. Hey, y'all, we watched the preliminary hearing for Austin Drummond today, which was pretty damning. It sounds like he's the only one responsible for this crime. However, as some of you may or may not know, he's claimed to be a confidential informant, and there's a lot more to this case than anybody knows. Today during my live stream, someone told me about a girl named the Arlie on Facebook and informed me that there are 3 calls or 3 videos that show a call between her and Austin Drummond. Now, yeah, the way I did this, I found so much information from her on the Austin Drummond case. So I'm going to let you guys listen to this, and then we're going to go through it and look at, basically, I've got like 10 Facebook links from her Facebook that I want to go over with you guys. Like, it's real interesting, all the things that she's found. I'll go ahead and skip it forward since you kind of got a little bit of the backstory so we can get into the phone call. Hello. We will break these down and try to fact check them tomorrow. Now, I'm going to start the first one. When I start the second one, you're going to hear a little bit of a repeat from the first one because the way. So when these calls start, they back up a little bit so that you can be sure you're not missing any of the call. All I need is Jesus. I would start with just trying to use natural things. I would think your face is having a reaction to something in the environment or that you're putting on your face. I use aloe. Actually, it's right here. Aloe vera gel. That's completely organic that I get off of Amazon. That's the only thing I put on my face. And I'm hoping, because my birthday is this month, that I can get some stuff from doTERRA, which is all natural, organic, essential oils. They make face cleaners and things as well. And I'm hoping to get some of that stuff, for my birthday. I would suggest using that stuff, or, you know, just some aloe vera gel, something, very easy on the skin. Witch hazel and a cotton ball. Yep, that's a good one, Lori M. She made the videos was where she had part of the last video in the current video, so you aren't missing any of the phone call, and you'll kind of see what I'm saying as I play them. This is video 1 of 3.
Is it going?
Yep, it's going.
All right, this is Austin Drummond. I would like to.
Blue Jay, I'm so glad that you didn't do that. I'm glad that you are okay. Happy early birthday, Julianne. And I hate that I will miss it, but I hope that you have a wonderful day. And I hope that it's everything that you, and hope it is. And congratulations on making it another year. That is an accomplishment that should be celebrated. Happy birthday.
Who have been reporting on me and the current tragedy. I definitely did not handle the situation right by right. But I was afraid. The reason for my fear is the same reason for the tragedy, and that is because I am an undercover informant working alongside the Lake County District Attorney's Office, the FBI, the ATF, the Justice Department, and Tennessee Department of Corrections Contraband Interdiction Unit. I've been working with them since April to help bring down Vice Lord leadership, prison drug smugglers, dirty correctional, police, and probation and parole officers. This includes the deceased, Matthew Wilson, Adriana Williams, Braden Williams, and Courtney Rose, all of whom were prison drug smugglers. I was informing on all of them. Please fact check me. Allow me to address my past, which...
Now, Courtney Rose was married to 2 people that are in prison, so it makes sense that they could have all been working together to smuggle things into the prison. And a lot of people have pointed out how it sounds like scripted. I think because, okay, when you're in jail, there's nothing to do but sit there all day and stare at the wall. And I think that he wrote everything down so he didn't forget anything, and he could make sure that he was accurate on what he was saying. But you guys, I'll start a poll and you can let me know if you believe him or not.
Media also reported on as a teenager I partied too much, and it got me in trouble. I did not, however, have any affiliation with any gang. In 2011, the burglary that was reported on was just me and my friend who went on the roof of our school to smoke a blunt on Super Bowl Sunday before the game because we were bored. There's more, but all minor misdemeanor stuff until the gas station, which I robbed with a BB gun while blacked out on Xanax. To this day, I do not remember it. I was charged as an adult and given 10 years at 85%, after which I made comments about the jury that had no real intent, but I was given another 3 years. My total sentence was 13 years for crimes committed at the age of 16 and 17, where no one was hurt. I even cooperated at that time with an investigator, Camden Jones, with the Jackson Police Department, and my lawyer, Joseph Howell, who was present to burn down drug dealers. This was supposed to keep me in juvenile court. They lied. Please remember to fact check me. So I entered the Tennessee prison system with no real street knowledge and no gang affiliation. The first 4 years were rough. I was victimized and used. The officers...
So, yeah, you can put that straight on your face. I make a facial cleanser, too, that has, it's Manuka honey, and you take a tablespoon of it, and you mix it with, that... It starts with a B. It's a type of organic clay and activated charcoal, and it's supposed to clean your face really good. But yeah, Manuka honey will work really good. Hey, Shiz, good to see you. Honey, yeah, just you can put the honey directly on there and wash it off. Oatmeal, yeah, that will help. Honey with the oatmeal.
Didn't care. They would put you in the hole for a week and then put you in another pod for another group of people to do the same thing. So after 4 years, I joined Vice Lord. These problems stopped and different problems arose. Towards the end of my sentence, I had managed to get away from the gang and was in a drug program. An officer boss at Northwest Correctional Complex made sexual advances, which I refused, and he got me kicked out and put back around.
Now, remember, this officer Voss allegedly made sexual advances towards him. He refused, and then this officer Voss gets Austin kicked out of the drug program and allegedly, from what he's saying, put right back in the line of fire.
Okay. CO Voss was later fired and charged for raping an inmate. Please fact check me. After being placed back around the gang, I was used to get contraband in. One day there was a major drug bust in the kitchen where stuff was found all over. I was blamed for everything. There are cameras all over, but the prison officials refused to allow me to see these videos because it would have incriminated them and exonerated me. This is one of my pending charges now. After this incident, I was placed on close custody levels for violent inmates. I was the only inmate there for a non-violent write-up. 1 month into being there, another vice lord threatened to stab me. Officers left the pod. I saw someone give him a knife, and he was putting on gloves, so I went on the offenses. This is where my attempted murder charge comes from. Everything I described is on camera. The incident was originally written up as just aggravated assault. I also was not indicted on this until 2 months after my release and 1 month after me and Caitlin started our relationship. That's correct. Contrary to what is being reported, me and Caitlin did not start any communication until one.
Angela, I apologize. I wasn't sure. So this is the case of the quadruple homicide out of Tennessee where Austin Drummond allegedly committed the homicide of the 4 people he considered to be family, leaving a baby in the front yard of somebody's house. I appreciate you being here, and I will make sure to do that from now on. And thank you for telling me that. Lori said, I mix honey and oatmeal and leave it on for about 15 minutes. It smells good, and it softens the skin.
Month after my release. The attempted murder occurred in August of 2023. I was released in September of 2024 and indicted in November of 2024. Me and Caitlin are both sure that I was only charged for it and that it was upgraded from aggravated assault to attempted murder in response to her quitting and dating me. Also, a couple days before my release, I met with Assistant Warden Walton and Internal Affairs Logan Wilson, where I informed them of dirty officers and illicit activities inside the prison. They were and dating me. Also, a couple days before my release, I met with Assistant Warden.
All right, we're going to go to jail phone call number 2. Also, there was 2 people arrested yesterday that we're going to look at before we go.
Me and Caitlin are both sure that I was only charged for it and that it was upgraded from aggravated assault to attempted murder in response to her quitting and dating me. Also, a couple days before my release, I met with Assistant Warden Walton and Internal Affairs Logan Wilson, where I informed them of dirty officers and illicit activities inside the prison. They were and dating me. Also, a couple days before my release, I met with Assistant Warden Walton and Internal Affairs Logan Wilson, where I informed them of dirty officers and illicit activities inside the prison. They were supposed to help me with my pending charges from the contraband situation in the kitchen. They did not. Sergeant Cochran and Unit Manager Spillers both knew of this meeting that took place. Again, fact check everything. After my release, I was fully devoted to my family. I had no affiliation with vice lords on the streets. The only contact was with inmates from the prison. I could go on and welcome any interview and or questions regarding anything I may not have mentioned that is in question. I'll now get to what I'm sure you all want to know, and that is my time working with the FBI, ATF, and Justice Department. I began working in April with the assurance of help with my pending charges. I had recently found out that Caitlin was pregnant and could not go back to prison. By the way, they were trying to give me 31 years between all my charges associated with the prisons. While working with federal agents, I conducted drone drops and drug buys. Drone drops in the prisons were allowed to go as long as there was no meth or cocaine. Anything else was allowed to go through. We never dealt with fentanyl, period. Over time, this raised suspicions of the vice lord leadership, and I was told the clear rules of the Justice Department to keep the investigation rolling Federal agents gave me a wink, wink, nudge, nudge on what they have to do if they have knowledge of it, in quotations, knowledge of it. So I'll leave that where it is because it will come into play of this tragedy. Now it's time for some dirt. CO Michael Cain at Northwest Correctional Complex is friends of the DA in Lake County and is heard on a recorded call talking inside of the cell of the leader of the Vice Guard in Tennessee. On his cell phone, the inmate cell phone, I mean. Federal agents have also heard hits put out and allowed inmates to be assaulted over recorded calls. This is the truth. It'll take some digging because they're trying to hide it. But again, fact check me. Now allow me to dive into the relationship with Matthew, Braden, Adriana, and Courtney. They were Caitlin's family who became my family. I took Adriana to the hospital to have her baby. I helped teach Braden to drive. I pushed him to do good in school. I paid Courtney's bills during hard times. Matthew was like a little brother to me. I tried to help him get clean off of the drugs. They were a part of the drug smuggling in Northwest before I ever met them. Bringing in Suboxone strips to Brandon, Adriana, and Braden's dad, member of Caitlin's family, who I love very dearly. And I'm sorry to bring them into this, but Ashley Childress warned me early on about Courtney to keep my distance. She even said someday she might try to set me up. They also saw Matthew with an ARP at one time, a while back. That will play into this case as well. An ARP is the type of weapon that the news reported I was allegedly carrying in all camo. Although Matthew, Courtney, Braden, and Adriana were family, the feds were clear I had to give everyone up that included them. I hated doing it, but I had Caitlin, our daughter, our son on the way, and two disabled parents I had to be there for. I chose them and I would do it again. I can't go into much detail, but I lost the phone that had correspondence between myself and federal agents when I was around Braden and Courtney, Matthew, and Adriana. Matthew also had an uncle that worked TDOC for 20 years.
All right, and here is the third and final call. I don't know why it just went dark. Hold on. What on earth? Okay, I don't know what that was about. Let me pull it back up. This is the third and final call.
We found out like Caitlin was pregnant and could not go back to prison. By the way, they were trying to give me 31 years between all my charges associated with the prisons. While working with federal agents, I conducted drone drops and drug buys. Drone drops in the prisons were allowed to go as long as there was no meth or cocaine. Anything else was allowed to go through. We never dealt with fentanyl, period. Over time, this raised suspicions of the Vice Lord leadership, and I was told the clear rules of the Justice Department to keep the investigation rolling. Federal agents gave me a wink, wink, nudge, nudge on what they have to do if they have knowledge of it, in quotations, knowledge of it. So I'll leave that where it is because it will come into play of this tragedy. Now it's time for some dirt. CO Michael Cain at Northwest Correctional Complex is friends of the DA in Lake County and is heard on a recorded call talking inside of the cell of the leader of the Vice Guard in Tennessee. On his cell phone, the inmate cell phone, I mean. Federal agents have also heard hits put out and allowed inmates to be assaulted over recorded calls. This is the truth. It'll take some digging because they're trying to hide it. But again, fact check me. Now allow me to dive into the relationship with Matthew, Braden, Adriana, and Courtney. They were Caitlin's family who became my family. I took Adriana to the hospital to have her baby. I helped teach Braden to drive. I pushed him to do good in school. I paid Courtney's bills during hard times. Matthew was like a little brother to me. I tried to help him get clean off of the drugs. They were a part of the drug smuggling in Northwest before I ever met them. Bringing in Suboxone strips to Brandon, Adriana, and Braden's dad, member of Caitlin's family, who I love very dearly. And I'm sorry to bring them into this, but Ashley Childress warned me early on about Courtney to keep my distance. She even said someday she might try to set me up. They also saw Matthew with an ARP at one time, a while back. That will play into this case as well. An ARP is the type of weapon that the news reported I was allegedly carrying in all camo. Although Matthew, Courtney, Braden, and Adriana were family, the feds were clear I had to give everyone up. That included them. I hated doing it, but I had Caitlin, our daughter, our son on the way, and 2 disabled parents I had to be there for. I chose them, and I would do it again. I can't go into much detail, but I lost the phone that had correspondence between myself and federal agents when I was around Braden and Courtney, Matthew, and Adriana. Matthew also had an uncle that worked TDOC for 20 years. I don't know how, but they found out I was an informant. I'll leave that there for now, too. Fast forward to after my arrest, somehow people and investigators have gotten the idea that the gang I was an informant against ordered me to do this unthinkable act, which is not true. I have often.
So again, we're gonna break this down. I've got things that could back him up, and I've also got things to kind of prove that he's lying. So I'm kind of on the fence about it.
To take a polygraph, whether or not I was told, threatened, forced, or asked to do this by anyone, because I was not. They didn't allow that, because if that's not the case, then what is the motive of a federal informant to go and plan to kill 4 people? Also, during my few weeks of incarceration, I was only allowed to see my lawyer over a Zoom call where we couldn't clearly understand each other, and he was unaware I did not want to waive my 14-day rule, and I'm eager to have my preliminary hearing. Also, during my court case, correctional officers went into my cell and took my legal papers to and from my lawyer. I have been restricted phone access, denied what all other inmates have, tablets and TV time, and mocked as dead men walking, and told that I might as well kill myself. I implore investigative reporters to take this information.
You have 3 minutes remaining on this call.
I implore investigative reporters to take this information and seek the truth. I am not an innocent man, but I am not guilty of what I'm charged with. I accept any questions and interviews. I look forward to them and my trial. I'm not suicidal. Also, I am in good health. You got it?
All right, so that was the jail calls. Please. Okay. So, wait a minute. Okay, I was on the wrong page. Okay, so now we're going to talk about we're going to kind of break it down. I'm going to start with going to his Facebook. Now, he said that he had no affiliation with the Vice Lord gang members after he got out of jail, that he was all about his family. That's what he wanted to do. And he just focused on them, okay? Well, Brandon Powell, who got arrested with the drones delivering substances and the PS4 and all that into the jail facility, that's him right there. And this was the first week that Austin was out. Brandon Powell's at the birthday party. And Brandon Powell, as you can see right here, 3rd arrest, Tennessee, he was arrested with the drones trying to deliver substances into the prison yard. So the fact that you've had no affiliation with anybody in the gang after you got out of jail is complete bullshit, because right there is the evidence of you having communication with the person that's in the gang after you got out of jail. Also, his dad, I'm going to go to Patreon because I know it's on my Patreon. There is a letter that his dad wrote and put out on X during all of everything going on, asking Austin to please just turn himself in, and that he wanted the violence to end. He wanted everything to stop. And I'm going to pull that up right now. Let me go ahead and go over here to my files so you can see that I've got a couple of things to talk to you guys about that I got a hold of. Okay, this is the letter from his dad. His dad said, "There are no words for the level of sadness we feel for the 4 young lives that were taken. The thought that our son could be responsible for such a tragedy is devastating. We urge Austin to turn himself in and end the panic and misery so many are feeling." And that's from the Drummond family. If Austin was snitching and working for the FBI, I would think his family would know. So why are they leaving notes like this and saying that if they know that he's working for the FBI and that he is an informant? Now, allegedly, he was staying in the car in a vehicle, living in his vehicle or something like that. And that would make me think that it was alleged that he was on methamphetamine. He was living in his car because he was homeless and all that. But then we got the preliminary hearing that said that that evening he went back to his parents' house, but that he was also staying in a motel. And we're going to see receipts for that. That was... Now, here is allegedly the motive for the homicides. So, Austin was inside the prison. This is allegedly the motive per Facebook. They said Austin was inside the prison at one point and got released in September of 2024. He was supposed to go somewhere else on his own and turn himself in to serve the rest of his remaining time for another charge. He did not. Now, if he got released and he had time for another charge, the police would have kept him in jail. They wouldn't let him out and just say, oh, go turn yourself in for this other charge. Not that I've ever heard. They would have transferred him to that other jail. Because, see, when you get out of prison, if you still have charges on you for other things, then you don't get released and get to walk out. You get transferred to the other jail facility where your charge is at. And then you handle all of that, and you go to court for all of that, or bond out or whatever. And then, you go back to court. Allegedly, that's what happened. He bonded out and was out in September. It says he fell in love with a correctional officer from the prison. They ended up running off together. Her name is Caitlin Speed. You can look her up on Facebook, and you can look her up in the system. She is Courtney's sister. Courtney and Matt apparently were with Austin, and they were getting substances inside. The prison hit was put out on Matt. Matt didn't know about it until it was too late. Courtney and the other two were just there, and they weren't going to leave any witnesses alive, to my understanding. That was not a hit put out on Courtney, because apparently Matt is the one that made the deal go bad. But that doesn't make sense, because in the preliminary hearing, we hear about how they were called there at separate times. Like, they got there at different times, all around the same time, but somebody called each one of them and had each one of them come out to the area where the bodies were found. And that Austin Drummond is the Facebook or the cell phone that they found to have been the one making all of these phone calls. So I'm going to go to, yes. Now we're going to start looking at these Facebook posts that the Arlene has put out talking about the case. I got about 10 of them, and then I decided we would just go through the Facebook. So this says, very good news today. Ty Brown below, who allegedly has claimed he has an attorney for Michael Voss, the CO charged and convicted with sexual conduct with an inmate, has taken it upon himself to let me know that I need to contact him. First off, no attorney would have you contact me like this. So that's the first sign of deception. But here's the good news. I will happily go to court, because I will then be able to request the footage in the prison. But sadly, due to the deceptive behavior already, I doubt I will ever hear from his attorney. So allegedly, this is what she got. At first, I thought this was a video from a few years ago because it was horrifying, and then and now. But no, it's just another awful human, or the same one hired someone else. And yes, Krista, you are right. Aren't there federal laws now? That dog is a police officer. Ty Brown says, contact me ASAP. My attorney will be in contact with you over the allegations from Michael Voss. Michael Voss is the CO that allegedly was making advances at Austin Drummond. And he said in the phone call that he turned down the advances from Michael Voss, the CO. And that's when Michael Voss put him right back in the line of fire in the prison system. Well, I don't know, because, okay, we talk about the document. Hold on. Let me find it. Hold on just a minute. I got to go through these documents. Okay, that's one. So he was released, right, in 2020, in September 7th of 2024, okay? Now, this is the indictment for the count of having methamphetamine, marijuana, an unlawful telecommunication device, and contraband in a penal facility, okay? And it says that it happened on or about October 20th of 2024, okay? But how is that possible? Because Austin Drummond was released in September of 2024. Remember, the post over here says that his first week out, where the photos we just looked at with the birthday cake right here, September 7th of 2024 at 7:50 p.m. is when he posted these photos of him getting out, okay? And then this indictment for all of the things in a penal facility, marijuana, methamphetamine, cell phone, and contraband, is on October 20th of 2024 in Trousdale County. So if he was already out of prison, why is he being charged for having these things in a penal facility so late? Why wouldn't he have been charged before he got out of prison, before he was released in September? This is a month later. And that's the kind of shit they do to get you to turn informant. They hit you with charges like afterwards or whatever. Like they scare you with a bunch of charges and say, we'll let you out of these charges if you will inform us or help us with what's going on. But again, it doesn't make sense because that would put him not in the prison system. This had to happen while he was still in prison, while all of this stuff was going on, where he has the Ciroc and the Nintendo Switch. This was August of 2023 and July of 2023. That's when he had to be the informant. So why is it that he's released in September of 2024? Hold on just a minute. Okay, how is it that he's released and then gets charged with that in October? That doesn't make sense. Someone didn't do their homework. Margie said, and if he had nothing to hide, then why did he run? Good question. He says that he shouldn't have done that and he takes responsibility for it, but I don't know. We're going to jump back over here to the Arlise post. This is another one I had that said message from Austin Drummond. It says some people were confused about Austin, so I got text confirmation to clarify exactly what his wishes are. He does not want a GoFundMe set up for him for any form of money raised for him. He is confident in the representation he has as well. Like I said yesterday, reminding everyone there are families grieving in this case. He also wants to remind everyone of that as well. If anyone, he said, quote, if anyone wants to start a GoFundMe that he believes baby Wesleyan and Courtney's other two children, McKenna and Lanston, should be the ones receiving the funds, and that he believes Courtney's brother, Seth Childress, and Briar Ashley Childress should be the ones who have control over the funds for the children, unquote, quote. And that was a source relaying a message back to her. So if he doesn't want money, what is it? What are we doing? Like, what does he want? The truth? This says reposting an update that I was wrong. Yes, he has a weapon. Notice the black glove, like his statement said. He said he did or didn't have a weapon in his statement. Sorry, y'all. Like I told you, I'll correct if I misread wrong. So here is the fight, okay? There's Austin Drummond, and he has a weapon. But someone pointed out this little black spot right here is a glove, okay? And that goes to the phone call where he said that the inmate was handed gloves and a knife, and he knew that he had to do something or he was going to get killed. Hey, Ever Love Me, and thank you for the super chat. Did they ever say whose phone was the one who called the family members where they died? Was it Austin? They said it was a phone number, okay, where the phone number that called the families to get the family members there was the same phone number that goes to Bikini Bottoms and puts all of Matt's truck and all of his ID and evidence from the crime in Bikini Bottoms, and then the same phone number that goes to somebody's house, and then that phone is triangulated, which means that 2 towers hit on this phone, and it can make a very precise location of the phone. And at that point, when it triangulated and there was a very precise location of the phone with this phone number, it was at Austin Drummond's parents' house. And then it goes to the motel. And we're going to see receipts from the motel. So yes, basically, yes, it was Austin's phone who called the people out there, who was at Bikini Bottoms getting rid of evidence, who went to his parents' house, and then the motel. Jada said, looks like that was the date the grand jury heard the case. Ooh, okay, let's go back. Okay, the grand jurors, duly impaneled and sworn upon their oath, represent that Austin Drummond on or about October 20th in Truesdale County, Tennessee, and before the finding of this indictment, did unlawfully and knowingly possess methamphetamine. So it's saying that he did that on or about October 20th of 2024, and it was filed February 18th of 2025. And this is what the bond hearing is about. So I suppose he is arrested on that charge, and this is the bond where he bonded out. Let me grab that. See, February 26th of 2025, that's where he got the bond of $75,000, and his parents bonded him out. The court hereby approves Andrea Drummond, defendant's mother, as the source of the defendant's bond in this case. The bond is set at $75,000, subject to conditions previously set forth by the court. The parties have agreed, and the court hereby orders that all action taken in the posting of this bond shall be in compliance with the laws of the state of Tennessee. This order is subject to modification only upon further order of this court. Non-compliance with the terms of this order may result in bond revocation and other sanctions as the court deems appropriate. This order constitutes the complete agreement of the parties regarding the source and terms of the bond, and it was entered the 26th day of February 2025. Addie said, wondering if Adriana's brother was supposed to take Matthew out to join the gang since he's the one who bought the tarps. I remember hearing about the tarps. I didn't catch who bought it. That's interesting. Thank you for letting me know, Addie. Wait, didn't we hear that the driver who picked him up bought the phone? We heard that Matthew bought the phone the night before, which was confusing. Like, if Matthew bought the phone the night before, then why does Austin have it? Because the phone that was used to call them out there, like, called each one of the victims at different times and had them come out there. Matthew was deceased. That phone that it sounded like they said Matthew bought was the phone that was at Bikini Bottoms when they put the truck in there and Baby Westland's there, and then it travels to where Baby Westland is dropped off. It's at Austin Drummond's parents' house and all that. And it's the phone that is used to call and get him a ride out of Bikini Bottoms. Jada said, so he got out in September, screwed up in October, was bonded out, and unallowed 4 people on bond. Well, I mean, if we go back to the October document, it talks about contraband in a penal facility in Truesdale County, which is not Lake County. But he would have had to deal with this before he got bonded out in September. That's what's not making sense and making me wonder again if he's an informant of some sort. So here again, you can see the glove, and remember, he said that guy Michael Voss put him back in there with the gang, and that gave them contraband or a knife of some sort or whatever and black gloves that he was putting on. And Austin thought that they were about to kill him, and that's when this fight takes place. And there is what appears to be a black glove right there, allegedly. Hold on, let me make it big again. I'm going to see if we can tell where the glove is. I want to see the glove up close. Do you guys think that could be a glove, or is it too big? What do you think that black thing there right above the words is a glove? Phones on camera. Matthew bought it. That's what I thought. Right, Tom? So we got out. Okay. And that Austin and the phone and driver guy dropped Westland off in the yard. Yeah. I think it was Matthew. I could be wrong. Where's the proof that it was Austin? There is no, the proof is that it was the same phone that was basically where Austin was throughout the day. They pulled up video camera footage showing that it was allegedly Austin driving the vehicle, and the phone is with this in the same area or location where baby Westland is dropped off in a yard later down the road. Then the phone is triangulated at Austin's parents' house, which that means that it's in a very specific location. Like they hit off of 2 towers instead of just one, so they can tell basically specifically where the phone's at, and it's at Austin Drummond's parents' house. Margie said it looks like a black latex glove. So y'all are seeing that? Okay. Could be. Okay. Okay. All right. And then let me go to the next one. I've got several links of hers. Lord, somebody need to get a tissue. Okay, DRLee said, when covering true crime or reporting, people make mistakes. Nick Barris is an example of that. I said in my statement, to me, it didn't matter if he had a weapon because it showed what he said in his statement. You see the glove on the ground. You see him go into the offense mode. And for anyone that has not been in the prison system, you don't understand what that video truly means. In prison, you have to fight for your life most days, join a gang, etc. All day today, I have been with family, homeschooling my son, and on important calls that my focus wasn't even fully on what I was reading. That's my mistake. And like I promised, I'm not prideful. I'm not too prideful to admit my mistakes before my platform, so that you can trust I will if I make one. As soon as I could, I corrected it. Nobody but myself and a handful of others knows what work I'm putting in behind the scenes. So with that said, this isn't about drama, but this is to show people below that the constant attacks I'm under, the stalking I'm under, the pressure I'm under to be 100% perfect in everything I do. I apologize. I did what I said. I corrected the information. Moving forward, I will definitely ensure that I'm not distracted and able to put my 100% focus on something before I hit send. Thank you to my loyal supporters and followers who know I'm human, and other creators such as Nick Barris is human. That's why I stress nobody was mad with him, nor had ill will, because he doesn't deserve to be attacked either. So I think this was about the something, I don't know, about him having a weapon. Okay, well, that's what that post is. I'm going to grab the next one. 5. Blue Jay said, so he bonds out just to take 4 people's lives, or was he out for a while before he did all that? I'm not all that into this Luger's case. Well, he bonded out in September. Somehow he got indicted in October, bonded out in February, and then takes their lives July 29th. I think Big Daddy Fat Fox has more to do with this, because Drummond knocked him out for being the second driver on the previous contraband drop. They got busted for not involving the girlfriend's family. Yes. 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 Boom, 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 bam. And Austin snitched him out, which was very curious. And I remember watching Fat Box to God or Brandon Powell, and thinking that he was an informant because he snitched out Brandon. If he hadn't been bonded, they would still be alive. Jada, yes. Yeah, I want to know exactly where everyone was and exactly what time, too. If this is some kind of corruption or cover-up, will we ever know the truth? She said, this is another post I saved. It said, I will be letting y'all know details, but I want to clarify. Calls with his parents have been cut in the same way. His source got blocked and her communication was cut. And before I could ask him any questions, twice our call was cut. You can say it's because I'm on live all day long, but when multiple people who are trying to communicate with him can't, that's the problem. Stop being delusional. His parents fear for his life. Some of y'all just keep turning a blind eye, and that's crazy. This says, I was on the live, and the way they are doing him is dirty. I know what he is charged with, and I'll admit at first I totally believed he was guilty, but now I'm not so sure. The more has come out, and the way they are trying to silence him speaks volumes. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. There's a lot of corruption going on. After his call with Nick was aired, the cops are doing everything to keep him from talking. Why is that? For something of this high profile, you would think they would want him to talk as much as possible to incriminate himself even more. But no, they're cutting him off for everyone, and that just seems shady as hell to me. So evidently his phone calls or ability to communicate is being cut off. 2, 4, 5, 6. And I don't know what all that's about. Oh, I found this real interesting. So basically, like the person said in the other one, like if he's talking, why would the police cut his communication off? I mean, that's a legitimate point. If he's running his mouth, they would want him to run his mouth as much as possible because all phone calls are recorded and that would incriminate himself. So let him run his mouth as much as possible. It's not like his lawyer works at the jail. His lawyer would tell him to hush, but police who are working for the state, for the DA, are going to want him to talk. So why are they cutting off his communication? Fat Box to God is Brandon Powell. Brandon Powell is his friend that we saw him when he got out of jail in September with. Hold on, let me pull it back up because for some stupid reason I closed it out. And Fat Box the God or Brandon Powell got arrested for having drones and dropping stuff in the prison yard, which is allegedly what they were doing. That right there is Fat Box the God. He had a YouTube channel. We watched him make some kind of freaking sausage balls or something with hot Cheeto dust on it, something to that effect. Okay, if we go back over here, it says, I'm just going to leave this right here, good night. And if we click on it and we zoom way in, this is from Tanaka Brown, July 23rd. Remember, the homicides were committed on July 29th, okay? And this says 50 million. They'll give you 50 million, but no sex for the rest of your life. 100 million, but you have no legs. 200 million, but you're deaf. 300 million, but you're blind. 400 million, but you only live until the age of 65. 500 million, but you have no arms and no legs. 600 million, but you must kill an innocent person. 700 million, but you're blind and deaf. 800 million, but you have to give it all to charities. 900 million, but serve 20 years in prison. 1 billion, but 4 family members are picked randomly to die instantly. Pick one. Now, yeah, it could be just some kind of freaking fucked up kind of game thing that they're posting about, but it is interesting. That last one for $1 billion, and this is posted 6 days before the homicide. It is shady with his communication being cut. Have a good day, Mama Mia. Anybody leaving? I don't know that I'll be back on Monday. I have my mother. I need to check the date. But my mother is, on Monday the 8th, my mother is having surgery. So I wanted to ask y'all to keep me keep her in your prayers, but I don't think I'll be back on Monday, and I just wanted to let you know that before you go. Okay. 7. So I found that interesting. Here it's going to talk about the hotel. Austin Drummond checked into the hotel around 1 a.m., which is 1 hour and 18 minutes if you take the fastest route from where the bodies were found. The system says the 28th, but that's because it doesn't update till 5 a.m.-ish. Then checkout came at 11 a.m. and he extended his stay another day. Austin used his debit card when making these transactions, not cash. A hotel worker said he would frequently stay there, and he acted the same as he did at any other time. She claimed he didn't have blood on him, didn't look like someone who just committed 4 homicides, often left, and police came in searching the room for the homicide weapon, which they did not find. Here's a timeline. Dyer County put out the alert the infant was found July 29th around 3 p.m. At 5:10 p.m., they updated that they identified whom the child belonged to and asked to speak with Courtney Rose, Matthew Wilson, and Adriana Williams. July 29th around 8 p.m., the bodies were found. July 30th, they announced the investigation, shared with the public who the victims were and the location they were found. July 30th, they actually named the suspect in less than 24 hours and put out the warrant for him, but publicly, this is what they claimed. July 31st, they named Austin Drummond the suspect and put out a warrant for his arrest. August 1st, they located Austin's vehicle off MCO Road in Jackson, searched the apartment and the hotel. August 2nd, they located the missing truck. August 2nd, Tanaka Brown was arrested for accessory after the fact and tampering with evidence. August 3rd, they arrested 2 more people for accessory after the fact, Dara Sanders and Giovanni Thomas. And then August 5th, Austin was captured. This is showing the information that they put out. Oh, no, it's a credit card. This was the 28th. And he stayed for 2 nights. So he paid on the 29th for 2 nights. Occupancy tax, visa payment, room charge. He paid on the 30th, 29th. Okay, I don't know. That's the receipt for the room. Thank you. I appreciate that, Snarky and Southern and everybody that I appreciate that. Thank you guys. I'm a little concerned, but it's not a risky surgery. They say she's going to be okay, but it is an open heart type of surgery. They're going to have to open her chest, and she's going to have to be in a rehabilitation center for like 3 months. So I'm concerned, but they say that they do this surgery a lot and everything goes okay. So I am nervous about it. I'm going to go see her tomorrow, and then and then the surgery's Monday. So I definitely won't be here. I'll be at the hospital, but I will keep you guys updated through posts and stuff. Thank you for your thoughts. Miss North said, do we know how the GoFundMe is going for everyone's funerals? Let's look it up. I'm trying to figure out how to ask to find it. Oh my gosh. They've only raised $1,775 out of a $6,000 goal, and only 10 people have donated. Let me share it. If y'all want to donate, I just sharing it because I try to do that when we talk about these cases. Well, I mean, yeah, but he paid with a card because I don't think he was expecting anything. Like the fact that he paid with a card, yeah, you would say that's pretty stupid to pay with a card, but not if he didn't do anything and wasn't expecting to be arrested for a quadruple homicide. But then we have the whole freaking preliminary hearing that shows that he freaking is somehow, I mean, his cell phone, I apologize, I was trying to pull up another thing. His cell phone was in the area when all the homicides happened, right? So is it stupid, or was it that he didn't do anything and he wasn't expecting to be arrested for these things? But how did the phone get there? And who bought the damn phone? Why was the phone at Austin Drummond's house? Thank you, guys. Miss North said, I think Matthew's dad said he thought he'd have to pay for everyone's funeral. I don't know, Kimmy. I don't know. This says Brandon Powell update. Brandon Powell, a Jackson, Tennessee resident, is facing charges related to Austin Drummond, the primary suspect in Lake County quadruple homicide. Powell is accused of conspiring with Drummond to smuggle contraband into a correctional facility. At his hearing today, which was September 2nd, the prosecutor filed a charge, what's called a nolle prosequi. This means the DA has dropped the charges for now. Y'all, hold on, let me pull this back up. They dropped the charges. No, that's not the one I wanted. Hold on just a minute. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Okay. Do y'all remember what Brandon Powell was charged with and what they got him for? Because I'm about to show you. I don't understand how the fuck they dropped these charges. Oh, they took the video down? Imagine the fuck out of that. See, this shit's not making sense, y'all. I hate to be conspiratorial and all that, but why is that video not there? We watched it so many times. Let me see if it comes up this time. There it is. Maybe. Okay. Hold on just a minute. Because I want to remind you of what he was charged with. How the fuck, I mean, and it was, they got him. They got his ass. So how the fuck is the DA just dropping the charges?
Information on a large drug bust in a local county that leaves one man behind bars and another on the run.
WBBJ 7 Eyewitness News reporter Caitlin Nicholson is live in studio with the latest details. Caitlin?
Thank you, Brad and Terry. Last night, after a patrol officer conducted a traffic stop, the situation took a turn. Take a look. Wednesday night, a Bells patrol officer conducted a stop on a vehicle heading westbound on Highway 412. Director of the West Tennessee Drug Task Force, Johnny Carter, stated that upon the traffic stop, one person ran off on foot while the driver pulled off, but eventually came to a stop.
There was still the driver still in the vehicle, so the Bells police officer stayed with the vehicle, detained the driver, called for additional backup units to arrive. He also called us and asked for the Drug Task Force's assistance.
Brandon Powell was taken into custody. Carter stated that they came to help track the other suspect on foot.
During that tracking process, we discovered the backpack that he fled with. It had 1 pound of vacuum-sealed marijuana in the backpack.
But he stated that the car had even more.
What was found in there was a drone, 4 mesh, like laundry bags, I guess you could call them. Several cell phones with charger cords, a Sony PSP game console, multiple fentanyl pills that were disguised like we call them dirty 30s.
Dirty 30s are made to mimic a 30-milligram oxycodone pill that's made from the pharmacy.
Y'all, they had him on all of this, and we later find out that it was Austin Drummond who fled on foot and dropped the book bag. Brandon Powell was driving in the car. They got him on all of this shit, including dirty 30s, yet they dropped the fucking charges? Are you fucking shitting me? Margie said, my sister lives in Lake County, and it's a very small little community, and the coroner works with the community if they don't have enough. That is good to know, and I'm glad to hear that. Addie said, Fat Fox also told the judge, I got my own money for bond, and I got my own money for my own lawyer. So, yeah, he's big dog. Yep. He's making more than what was laid out on that table. Miss North said, but then who did it and why? If not Austin, who? I mean, we saw his reaction in that fight. He just split second reacted. It's possible he did the same thing with the family. It's possible, but why? I mean, Caitlin's pregnant with his son. We had the alleged motive that it was a drug deal gone bad and that Matthew was the target and then the other people were killed because they were there. But that doesn't make sense because the preliminary hearing told us that the phone called the people to the scene of the crime where they all met their end, but they didn't all get there at the same time in the same vehicle. There were several other different vehicles, which all doesn't make sense. Zan said he's turned CI, possibly or probably.
Pills are created using fentanyl.
That's the only thing that makes sense. He turned confidential informant.
Carter stated that the evidence concluded that the drone was equipped to drop the mesh laundry bags with marijuana into the Northwest Correctional Facility in Lake County. He says typically you would see the lights on the drone, but the drone was tampered with.
They had placed electrical tape over the lighting of the drone so that it would not shine. You wouldn't be able to see it.
Authorities are still searching for the other suspect who ran from the scene.
And we later found out that that was Austin Drummond. Now, if we jump back over here, September 2nd, again, Brandon Powell, that fox to God, was facing charges related to Austin Drummond, the primary suspect in the Lake County quadruple homicide. Powell is accused of conspiring with Drummond to smuggle contraband into a correctional facility, which you just saw. At his hearing today, the prosecutor filed what's called a nolle prosequi. This means the district attorney has dropped the charges for now. A nolle prosequi can happen for a few different reasons. It's like not having enough evidence at the moment, which we just saw. They had plenty of evidence. Issues with witnesses, I doubt it. Or because the DA may plan to file charges again in another county or under a different case. So while today's filing ends the current charges, it doesn't necessarily mean the case is over. Same with Giovanni Thomas. September 4th, arraignment currently scheduled or upcoming. This is for Brandon Powell's probation violation. Questions people may have since it's on the same date of Austin's is arraignments and hearings are scheduled for defendant only, not for witnesses. Brandon Powell is listed as a defendant for September 4th, which means this is about his own charges, not testifying. If he were testifying against Austin Drummond, you wouldn't see him listed as having his own court date at the same time. Instead, the DA would simply subpoena him as a witness and call him into Austin's hearing or trial. Now, with that said, it's possible the DA scheduled both on the same day for convenience. If he were, and it drops off, but the fact that those charges were dropped and we just saw the video showing all the evidence makes me think, like Zan said, that he's turned and got a deal from prosecutors. And if that's the case, then is it out of the realm of possibility to think that Austin Drummond, I think he could have also been a confidential informant. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think that Austin did that at some point too in the past. This is an update on Giovanni Thomas. Giovanni Thomas was previously charged with accessory after the fact of first-degree homicide in connection to the quadruple homicide. Investigators with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation alleged that after the homicides, Thomas helped the main suspect, Austin Drummond, while he was on the run. He was also facing separate failure to appear charge in Madison County at the time. At his hearing today, the prosecutor filed a nolle prosequi. This means the district attorney has dropped the charges for now. But it does not mean that Thomas was found not guilty. And then it talks about the reasons for a nolle prosequi. Did they get him to turn state witness as well? Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. If he would have still been in prison, they might have been killed anyway by someone else because it was Matthew that was the target. True. Caitlin told him sister Courtney would rat him out. Also, Courtney was talking with Caitlin's daughter's biological father and was going to help him get custody from Caitlin, so it's possible. Maybe. They're getting ready to like kill Drummond and everything's just going to go away and protect the higher ups and the corruption. That's what people are afraid of. That's why everybody's talking about it so much, I think. This one, we're supposed to hear something. Talking about a black truck. Now, this is going to be audio from the day that the homicides happened.
Simple. If you were to Salt Lake County, know everything here is secure at the time. They are asking to notify Dyer County that the black truck that's involved in this is still missing. The Charger and the Equinox are here. Simple. If you were to Salt Lake County, know everything here is secure at the time. They are asking to notify Dyer County that the black truck that's involved in this is still missing. The Charger and the Equinox are here.
Okay, now remember the black
Simple.
Charger belonged to one of the victims, and the Chevy Equinox is what Austin was drumming. I do believe it was the Chevy Equinox with the California tag. So where's this black truck? How do we know who does the black truck belong to? Maybe one of the victims? I don't know. Because remember, we heard that that officer drove down there and saw some vehicles there, and then he turned around and come back up, and the one that allegedly Austin was driving was gone. That's the one with the California tag. Okay, hold on. Hold on. 6. Okay. So we're going to go to her Facebook. Like, there's a lot on here. Rental headed to the crime scene at 1:08 p.m. Corey believed he saw the rental at the crime scene between 1:15 p.m. Rental camera headed back to Jackson 1:33 p.m. Scott Lawson testified. 12:39 phone was in conjunction with the license plate reader in Dyersburg. 1:04 phone was back near the crime scene. 1:38 phone was moving from the crime scene. Justin Tubbs' testimony, he claimed it was about 10 minutes to the crime scene from the camera footage. He claimed these were the same vehicles. When asked the color of the rental, he said it was silver or gray. One of them is definitely white, and the other one is definitely silver or gray. Interesting. There's a memorial site. 6 inmates were injured in Lake County prison disturbance. I thought that was interesting. There's one on here that shows Courtney Rose, and then it shows some kind of laptop thing where they think that they found out he was an informant. This one. It says, Austin said, yes, this is his laptop. Yes, he showed them the footage, but no, this is news to him that it was secretly recorded. Matthew Wilson is the one who leaked the fight footage to a certain creator. Matt Wilson, I quote, said regarding the leak, I haven't removed or manipulated anything. I hardly know how to work TikTok or any other app for that matter. The video I have starts where it starts. That's the same video I sent Nicole. If you look in the shadows of the laptop, Braden is the little 15-year-old boy that is recording that video, not me. I became aware of this because someone leaked the info from the certain creators Discord, where she said she purposely snipped the video. Matt Wilson sent to her, not showing the full thing. I'm only bringing this to the public's attention because it should be known. It's concerning, and let me explain why. Thanks to the commenter for the great catch. Why would Matthew Wilson have access to a video Braden recorded? In the video, you can hear whoever in the background was searching the place of living for a safe key. Child says, guess what, Austin? Did Austin know Braden was recording this? I have so many questions regarding this. And that's the video we saw. There's a reflection of somebody. That's the prison video. But you can't tell who that reflection is of. This is some really deep stuff. Just going to tell you part of the Tennessee's butts up against Southwest Missouri, Boot Hill, and that's a very corrupt area as well with law enforcement officials. Wow. Maybe the vacation rental, I think it was a Rogue. It don't look like it was the one that had the California tags, right? Didn't they say there was 2 vehicles when they dropped Westland off in the yard, one white and one black? Yes, they did. They were looking for a white SUV and then a black SUV or a black truck, and then Matthew's old Chevy. I just don't believe if he was a CI, he would be allowed to talk about it, and I don't believe he would openly talk about it because that's a threat to his life, in my opinion, right? So by saying he's a CI, when he goes into that jail facility, he's got a hit on his head because the gang knows that he knows a lot of shit, and if he's running around hollering, I'm a CI, they're going to try to take him out. But if he's a CI, why, like, did the state just turn against him and decide not to help him? Or, like, what? Like, if he did actually become a CI, I would think, and they turned their backs on him, I would maybe think he's doing what he's doing now. I was a CI, and I need to prove it, and I'm going to prove it. Because, again, it doesn't make sense for him to say he was a CI, because that's putting a hit out on his head, if he actually wasn't. You know what I mean? Probably the guard, maybe. Who's he more afraid of than the gang? Going to prison for the rest of his life than for something maybe he didn't do? That's the truck. This is showing that they removed interviews where DA Danny Goodman Jr. lied and said prison guard even slipped up saying assault. They removed the video. She was showing that. We've looked at all that. This, I wanted to see what this was.
725. 725. 725 is heard at 501. Caller advised, this is where the mother Courtney Rose will have incident child missing from her heavy and kind of flashlight looking around the house. She advised her address was 150 Bonnie.
What?
725. 725 is heard at 501. Caller advised, this is where the mother Courtney Rose will have incident child missing from her heavy and kind of flashlight looking around the house. She advised her address was 150 Bonnie.
Did y'all get... DA said the family was missing the night before.
725. 725 is heard at 501. Caller advised, this is where the mother Courtney Rose will have incident child missing from her heavy and kind of flashlight looking around the house. She advised her address was 150 Bonnie.
I don't understand what that's trying to say. Okay, Zan, have a good day. He knows the substance contacts for the gangs outside. He's done for sure. You're telling me Caitlin was jealous of her sister. That's where all that backstabbing came from. Maybe. If, as he claims, the COs are part of the gang, then openly admitted he's a CI is even more risky. Right. Yeah, I'm about done for the day anyway, but like, I don't even know what to think. Now, this how you going to demonstrate the trapper anytime a person play with you, this is what going to happen. Might even get worse.
No, I ain't no bullets. Hey, you ain't doing no click shit, huh? I ain't no click. Yeah, he gon' blood. Yeah, fuck that. Ain't no click.
What the hell? Austin is asking that speculation on his case doesn't happen because it's like straight out of a movie, and he doesn't want people believing one thing. They have speculated and it turning out to be different, making them hard to see the truth later on. I can agree with this so much. His parents' calls are dropped and they're blocking numbers. Forget our call. They don't want him speaking out. We are working on getting communication restored because this is against his rights to have the ones he loved removed from talking with him. Our call was dropped twice, and I also got put on the block list for now. Good news is Kayla is currently able to still communicate with him through the tablet, but not the phone. We don't know if that will stop working soon. He was able to contact his parents again, just got word. He let us know they keep him handcuffed and shackled every second he steps out of his cell. No, but no other inmates are done this way. An inmate that is housed with him reached out to me to also confirm this, and they said nobody else is treated that way, but Austin Drummond is. We will ensure his communication gets restored, and I will finish asking him more questions not related to his current case and keep focusing on the corruption in the prison and jails in Tennessee. All right. Well, my thought process on that is that it could be for a number of reasons, especially considering that he had all that contraband in a penal facility. You know what I mean? So that could be, I don't know. The longer it goes on, the more convoluted it gets. I agree. You think Caitlin was jealous of her sister? It's possible. Love that recent okay to put out private Discord messages. Yeah, I don't know, y'all. Caitlin was only allowed to speak to him about the baby, not the case. Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, I want to share I got one more thing to share with y'all before we go that I found kind of interesting. Let me see. 43, 52. So I don't know if y'all heard, but there was this guy that was like going to see the Annibelle doll, and he took it out of the case or was around it or something. And he all of a sudden died. Y'all know the Annibelle doll, the one they made the movie The Conjuring about, that's supposedly really haunted and kept in a glass case. Well, we have his cause of death.
The cause of death for Annibelle doll handler Dan Rivera has been revealed. Nearly 2 months after he was found dead while touring with the infamous horror relic. A Pennsylvania coroner told People in a statement, Dan's death followed a cardiac-related event. And no, Annibelle was not present in the room at the time of his passing, with officials saying Dan died of natural causes, consistent with his known history of cardiac issues. The paranormal investigator.
Hold on. Sorry. What is going on? Good gracious. Okay, what the...
Tour of the supposedly haunted Raggedy Ann doll, made famous after the Conjuring franchise depicted Ed and Lorraine Warren's first-hand accounts. Series star Patrick Wilson sharing his reaction to Dan's death with E! News ahead of their final film.
If all these things are so evil, why do you keep them around? Why not just destroy them?
Yeah.
It's complicated. Sometimes that makes things worse.
I think anytime something happens in real life, I never sensationalize it. So, you know, I there's a lot of unexplained things, and anytime you're dealing with real people, real families, real friends, that's much bigger than any of this other stuff.
Interesting. Well, before we go, I'm really going to go after this, but I'm going to leave y'all with a positive note. I saw this and I thought it was cute, and I really wanted to share it with y'all. So let me get this pulled up and then we'll go for the day. Yeah, he was touring with her evidently and then had a cardiac arrest and died. Excuse me. So I saw this and it said, teen tubing down river reaches hand into water and a week-old baby grabs on. It says, Liz Bellinger was tubing down the Cowichan River in Canada with her family enjoying a peaceful day when she suddenly heard tiny cries coming from the water that were unlike anything she'd ever heard before. There's photos of them out there. It was a baby beaver. Look how precious. Isn't that sweet? It says, my 16-year-old son, Connor, floated through the same little rapids soon after me and heard the same sound, then saw the beaver kit struggling in the water, Bellinger told the Dodo. Without hesitating, the teenager reached his hand underneath the baby and she grabbed onto him. He pulled her into his chest to keep her warm and she quickly snuggled in and closed her eyes. The family was in awe that this little baby trusted them so immediately, and it was clear she badly needed their help. Connor refused to let his mom hold the baby for the first hour or so, wanting to protect his new friend for as long as he could. The family had the baby for about 4 hours before they were able to transfer her into the care of North Island Wildlife Recovery Association. Each time she opened her eyes over the next 4 hours or so, she just calmly snuggled back into us, Bellinger said. She was even making little nursing motions and sounds when she was cuddled up in my lap as I drove her to the center. She was absolutely the most adorable little creature ever. After checking over the baby, later named Timber, one thing became clear. The Bellinger family absolutely did the right thing, and there were signs that she had been without her mom for a while, and without the family's quick save, little Timber might not have made it. She arrived cold, dehydrated, and completely exhausted, Joanna Smith from Nera told the Dodo. At that age, she would have still been entirely dependent on her mother, making her survival in the wild highly unlikely without intervention. And there she is eating, so it was a happy story. They found a baby beaver. Look. Timber was only about a week old at that point, and things were a bit touch and go. Now she's thriving. She's incredibly determined, confident, and curious, Smith said. Even at such a young age, Timber has a strong presence and a clear will to survive. Baby beavers usually stay with their mom for over a year, so Timber will remain with her rescuers for a while, growing stronger and developing the skills she needs to survive on her own. Once she's old enough, she'll be released back into the wild, likely near where the Bellinger family found her and saved her life. I thought that was just so sweet. Little baby. How precious is that? I know. I think something happened to the mama, which is sad. All right, y'all. As I said earlier, I probably will not be here on Monday, but I will be back on Tuesday. I won't be here tomorrow and I won't be here on Monday. I should be back on Tuesday. I will make posts to keep you all updated on how everything's going. I am working on another case that I got information for, so I'm excited to get more information on that and start working on it and going over it with you guys. I want to tell you about it so bad, but I can't tell you about it just yet. But we should have lots to talk about. So, again, I appreciate y'all being here with me. I appreciate the support. I appreciate everything that you guys do. I enjoy our time together every day. Dandy said, we saw a baby otter at the waterfall not long ago. Cutest thing ever. That is adorable. They showed them how to build their homes. What a great story. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, if you don't mind, please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. I greatly appreciate that. And I will see y'all on Tuesday, if not before. Y'all, make sure you stay safe out there with these storms going on. It's raining and storming here now, too. So make sure y'all stay safe out there. And I will miss y'all. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out. And y'all have a good weekend. Bye.